for me, it's much more fun. I'm much more relaxed. I was in Zandvoort. I did my first race with my partners. So this is why we decided to do the race here. It's a fun thing. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. And that's the best. And honestly, that is the best reason for racing. Perhaps more people should take that enjoyment into the race meeting.
And that spirit carries across the paddock, Nick. It's just the vibe of this meeting. And now the grid is clearing. Actually, stand up here. I've never stood up high in this grandstand in the commentary box and seen 52 cars spread out. Even though the straight was shortened a while back, they go very close to the far end of it. Great sights.
Oh, I'm being cleared. We're being cleared off.
Oh, well, just when you got to the Praha Racing Ferrari as well.
I know. It's not got. It's got one of the Czechs in it. It hasn't got Peter in it. It's got. It's Jan. I've been pointed out who it is. I have no idea how good Mr. Pizarnik. You're English. Jan, you are the. Unlike every other sports car event I go to, you are the only Ferrari 458 here. Does that give you an advantage?
Ja, die Mercedes, die sind sehr schnell, also wir müssen die halten, gleich am Anfang.
And that's the answer you get. I think
that's the answer
German.
you get.
Was that German?
Yes,
that was German.
Very German.
There we are. So I've identified the language.
We'll go as fast as we can. So we'll see what happens after that.
That's probably it, actually. Yeah.
He did say move along Tubby, which wasn't really called for.
I've lost 20 pounds, honestly. Anyway, that's me from the pit lane for the. There isn't the start of the second half, so this is the first half. And now back to young John and young Bruce with the start.
Yeah, currying favour with us by flattering us. Not going to work. Nick Damon doing his usual cracking job down on the grid there. And this is the first of two race starts effectively that we will have, because tomorrow there is the concluding 9 hours of the 12 that make up the half day of the Zandvoort 12 hours, the Hankook 12 hours of Zandvoort for 2014. Brand new event from Crevendic and a first time event for us here on RadioLeMans.com as well. Bruce Jones, John Hindhaugh and Nick Damon. And I just wonder, we're bringing up, the more we think about this, the more questions are being asked, Bruce, and talking about fuel usage, how many drivers you use, how much tyres you've got. I wonder as well, in a 3-hour race, do these guys who go out here tonight into the evening, do they have a different mental approach, knowing, yes, it is the first 3 hours of a 12-hour race, but it's kind of not?
Well, full well they can stop over their steak tonight and actually think, no, we can do this differently. Having that breathing
space. They can't
space,
touch the cars.
They can't touch the cars. It gives you a chance to look back with the ability to do something about it, rather than looking back at the end of a 24 and saying, if we'd run a little lighter on the throttle, we could have, saved a fuel stop over the course of the race, not routed our tyres. I think it's an absolutely intriguing task for a lot of the drivers a fair few of the drivers on this. They're just also confused by the fact it's their first time at Zandvoort, their first time for some of them in an endurance race. There are so many different factors. We've got the enormous performance differential between the SLS Mercedes at the front of the grid and right up to the back to the Blendini Motorsport BMW 120D. We've got a huge... they're in a... Z3 coupe, aren't they? But so many factors. But the fact you can leave at sort of curfew hour tonight, 7 o'clock, the curtain comes down. We have the results of the first 3 hours minus one lap. They lose that last lap. They all have it counted back. Many, many factors. And what we're also having here is the wind's picking up now. So that's going to be just another twist. But it does seem really laid back. Great fun. And every time I look at these Crevendic events, I think the appeal seems to grow stronger and stronger. And for those of you listening in black and white, we are here in full colour at the circuit. It is a beautiful sight. And for you, John, your first time here at Zandvoort.
And what an event to come to. Remind you that the second edition of the Hankook 12 Hours of Zandvoort, and it's hashtag 12HZV, by the way, this weekend, if you're on Twitter, is the 15th and the 16th of May next year. Already been decided by Crevendic. Engines have fired up. Probably just about hear that from Nick's mic down there. And 52 cars are on the grid, and they stretch an awful long way back, don't they? The little Peugeots right in the middle of the grid. The new GTIs, Peugeot's GTIs back again, and just a couple of rows ahead of that, the Ginetta. Two very different takes on sports cars.
But just looking down, John, I mean, the sun has really come out full. the presentation of cars in the past handful of years has just
Massive.
gone through the roof. Even cars that you are run effectively by groups of friends. And of course there are car wrapping services and stuff, but they do look absolutely brilliant, and none better than the Martini liveried SLS down in the third row of the grid. Well,
on row number 10, it's the GC Automobile Factory V8. The GC10, the number 89 car on the outside with Team Ultron and Vincent Rademacher's Peugeot 208 GTI, the 208 car on the inside. On row 9, the E46 Tishner Motorsport BMW 29 from the 93, the Mark Cars Australia Focus V8. This brilliant concept that we saw at the Liqui Moly Bathurst earlier in the year, making its debut. The Ginetta G50 that I was talking about is the Speedworks Motorsport car. The number 105 is on the outside of row 8 and has the self-built Audi R8 racing car built from a crashed road car. The 104 Red Camels Jordan.NL machine. One row further forward, Cor Oyser. Well, of course, he's here with the Lotus Evora now, the GT4, the number 102 car. Alongside them, the Nissan 370Z, the Variety, fantastic, the 76 Nissan Nederland car. The Top Auto Tyler Racing Paul Sitter in A5, the 30 BMW is on the outside of row 6 with the Besserplas Racing Team Audi TT RS, the 86 car for company. That's third in SP2, second in SP2. The Franck Leon Provost entered GC Automobile Factory 88 car, and on the inside of row 5, the Equipe Verscheur Las Morash Racing Team Renault Megane Trophy, the number 90. Top 4 rows now, Car Collection Motorsport Mercedes-Benz. We're into the GT3 cars, the A6 cars in 8th position for the number 3 car. The 7 GDL Racing Mercedes-Benz SLS GT3. In 6th position, the Car Collection Motorsport, the second of their cars, the 33 car, and of course another Mercedes-Benz. In 5th, we thought might have been pole position for the V8 Racing Chevy Corvette, but the number 5 car had damage in the early part of the qualifying session, was rebuilt and is on the grid. Top 2 rows, Lippert Motorsport with the Lamborghini, of course. What else would they be running? The number 10 car is on the outside of row 2. Scuderia Praha, the Ferrari, the sole Ferrari 458 GT3. Peter Cox in that car, although as you heard from the grid from Nick Damon, he's not starting it. That's Jan Pizarnik who is starting that car. Hofer Racing have locked out the front row with 2 incredibly quick times. A 140.386 for the number 2 car puts it on the outside of the front row. The Mercedes-Benz, the pair of Mercedes-Benz separated by less than 0.4 of a second, and it was Maxi Burke, who is the only driver to go below 100 seconds for the 4.3 kilometres around Zandvoort, and puts the Hofer Racing number 1 Mercedes SLS on pole position for this race. That's 20 of the 52 cars, and there'll be just as good racing in the back 20 as the front that I've just mentioned.
John, 52 cars, that is the key. The leaders are just coming round the penultimate corner, and the tail ender, the 52nd entry, is just going through Chevlac. They've been spread out around this lap. They will have to slow right down behind the pace car that is leading them around. But some of them have still got half a lap to go to get to the grid. So the cars, the first few coming down to make their start by the looks of things, and the safety car, no, he's going around for another lap. He's got to bunch the field.
We get a second lap, and there's a bit of tyre warming, a bit of scrubbing actually, probably more than warming, if truth be told. You can get in touch with us. We have we're live in sound and vision at radiolemans.com. If you go to the forum, there's a Friday Zandvoort page there in other endurance racing, and there's pictures there. And also, if you go to the Zandvoort page, we've already got some archive content up there, and again you can watch some of the pictures. Not full TV coverage, but it'll give you at least an idea of what is going on. And of course at radiolemans.com in sound only if you don't have the bandwidth. And you can tweet us here at Specutainment, at RC Racing as well. Hello to Declan Brennan, who is working away this weekend, part of the CJ Wilson race team out in America. So he's got a couple of events, I think, this weekend to keep an eye on. Declan misheard says the second half of the race will be in 2015. No. The second edition of the race. If I said half, I apologise. 15th and 16th of May next year. We clearly have not only had our attention caught by this event, but Creventic have caught the attention of the endurance racing world on this RadioLeMans.com Super Endurance Weekend, with exclusive live coverage from Zandvoort leading into Sunday, the 1st of June, and the only live coverage of the Le Mans Test Day, with Joe Bradley and Shea Adam in the Nismo Eat Sleep Race Repeat pit lane. And Paul Trustwell with the analysis of the times and the stint lengths, which are going to be so important at Le Mans this year. 13.9 laps for one of the leading teams. I've seen quoted, isn't going to be enough. It's going to have to be 14 point something. We'll have expert analysis on Sunday from Racecar Engineering, Sam Collins, and the editor of dailysportscar.com. That is Graham Goodwin. That is all Sunday. That is all still to come as we build up to the 2014 Mobile One RadioLeMans.com coverage of the 24 hours. But this weekend, it's all about what we would be doing if we had the opportunity, all of us endurance racing fans, if we could get the money together, get ourselves a car and a few friends, we would be doing this. And in fact, I don't know why I'm not, because this really has tickled me. 3 hours now, 9 hours tomorrow. It is Zandvoort and the Hankook 12 hours for 2014.
And just one little thought as they approach the final two right-handers to come round to take the flying start. What can the mindset be? You've got two Mercedes SLSs on the front row. They're not only teammates, but the drivers are interchangeable between the two cars. Is this the chance that the Ferrari driver, which is Pisarek on the second row, is looking for, that while they maybe are going to be very careful with each other as they go down to Tarzan, that double right-hander, the end of the start-finish straight, that could be the chance for the Ferrari to pounce, but certainly on pace. When you get Maxi Bouk in either one or two, he's going to make it fly.
Well, I've still got on the exact timing here on the G-Shock, 60 seconds to go. And indeed, the race clock in front of me that I can just see is also synced to the correct time.
But the safety car is coming off and the final car is going through the penultimate corner.
So the BMW comes into the pit lane at pace, wants to get out the way. It's the two Hofer Racing Mercedes-Benz, and the poleman jumps early, and it is the Lamborghini on the outside of the second row who could not pass before the line and held everybody else up, and that's really worked well for the second of the Hofer Racing cars, as everybody who's on the top of the pits runs across from one side of the other to see them exit Tarzan, and it's still the two Benz, 1 and 2. Lamborghini in third position, then coming through into third, it's the 33 coming through, that's the Martini coloured car. It's still in fifth, it's grid position for the bright yellow Corvette, now with the black rear end where that's all been replaced.
And we wondered about the Ferrari making progress, but sadly quite the reverse, from third down to sixth place for the Czech driver. But it's number 2 Mercedes leading from number 1. Maxi Bouk is in number 1. Jeroen Mul went slightly on the grass as he came out of Tarzan, but got it back together before Gerlach Bocht and put the Lamborghini firmly into third place. But it's Mercedes 1 and 2, or more to the point, 2 leading 1 at the start of this race. Very clean start. 52 cars took the start, 52 cars have made it as the last few go up towards Schivlach for the first time.
I'm very impressed that everybody has got through that. Friday racing from Zandvoort as the leaders stretch off onto the far side of the circuit. We lose them just for a moment from vision, but thankfully we have got some cameras out there. Down to the chicane for the first time. It's still the two Benz and the Lamborghini in third position, top 4 as they were, top 5 as they were. And that Ferrari still in sixth position. Yes, it is coming through there, holding its spot. Then the rest of the top 10. It looks like one of the GC Automotive cars has come through the field and made up a little bit of ground as they come back towards us now. We'll try and pick out which. Oh, and a spin right in the middle of the pack. Just before the run down to the last right-handers.
I think it's the 89 GC Automotive car. You talk about one and the other takes a spin, but leading the way we've got the two Mercedes, 2 leading 1. That's Christian Frankenhout ahead of Maximilian Bouk. Jeroen Mul starts lap 2 in third place in Lamborghini number 10. Renger van der Zande made a strong start from 6th up to 4th in the Martini liveried Mercedes. And then he tried to make a move on the inside but was caught out. That was the hastily repaired V8 Racing Chevrolet Corvette number 5 with Dirk Sitov. And then Jiri Pisarek, who started third on the grid but has fallen to 6th place in the Czech entered Praha Racing, and still sitting Ferrari and still sitting there out of effectively turn 12 is the number 89 GC Automotive, the white entry. Now has just finally started moving. He's got the engine fired up and is doing a a 270 spin, and he will go on to complete the lap. So he won't be in the way as the leaders make their way around the second half of lap 2.
Sorry, Bruce, go ahead.
I was going to say the gap at the end of the first lap, just a fraction under 1 second.
Well, that's all the good news. Let's check to see where the class leaders is. I thought that was the number 90 car coming through. It was the Megane that had gone through. It has a look at the GC cars. So the Megane making up places early on, up to 8th position, leads its class. Also going up through the field is the number 30, the top Auto Tyler Racing BMW. So who's had the problem? Well, Jari Pesarik, as you might imagine, has dropped back a little bit. But also we've seen Nigel Farmer dropping back through the field in the GTL racing car.
What we need to see now, the gap is definitely coming down between first and second. It was 0.9 of a second. In fact, a slight mistake coming out of Arie Luyendyk for Maxi Buch in the chasing number 1. So the gap 0.8 of a second this time. But on the other side of the track, certainly Maxi Buch was gaining ground in second place.
Nissan 76 from Paul Still leads SP3 in 13th position as they stream past us in the opening moments of the opening 3 hours of the 12 hours of Zandvoort with Hankook for 2014.
Okay, the thing we've got to look for now, John, is Renger van der Zande. Went from 6th to 4th at the start. He's now having a nibble at the back of the number 10 Lamborghini. Jeroen Mol, a very handy driver, though.
Question is that Renger behind the wheel? Did we see him get in?
Well, there's a question, because it is.
Nick Damon?
Yes, it is Renger, and of course the car, I would expect, is now restored to full health with a properly working fuel pump.
Yes, they were struggling with fuel pressure problems, not full pressure problems. That's what Eve has to put up with when I'm at home. And the fuel pressure was causing them issues to the point where Mirko Schultzes, I think, only got about a lap in the qualifying session and then had to bring the car back in again. Battles all the way down the field as the leaders. It won't be long before the leaders are in traffic, actually. We've had, 2 laps now. They're on the 3rd, and they're just coming out onto the start-finish straight when?
Well, in about 3 seconds' time, and the tail ender has just gone around through Tarzan. So 1, 2, 3, there they come. They're round Arie Luyendyk Boch, coming up towards the start-finish line now, and the tail enders are just going to Hugenhof box. Give them another 2 laps.
There's something entirely right about a Mercedes-Benz, mainly in white, the original racing colour of Germany, of course.
There may be white paint scraped off very soon indeed, because Maxi Buch got very close going into Tarzan in number 1, chasing down Christian Frankenhout. And let's have a look as they come down through Gerlach-Bocht, and then the little dip, and then into the gently banked Hugenhof box, almost nose to tail, accelerating up over the change in the tarmac, over Hunsrück, and then now they're getting onto, in fact there is a tail ender within their sight. They will have him by the time they come down to the chicane, back into our view again.
Just wonder how hard Christian might be fighting.
And of course that's number 89, the GC that spun over there on the previous lap.
So actually a tail ender, but not the slowest car in the field, and this might be interesting because he will be desperately trying to make up ground, of course. Let's hope he's looking in the mirrors as they head out onto the beautiful flowing side of the circuit. And you can hear the cars whizzing down the front straight past Nick Damon. I'm just going to turn Nick's mic down a tiny bit as the help with the effect is
one thing that really
exciting.
Impressed me, John, I'd never seen these 5-litre V8 engine, the Mark Focuses, up from Australia, and I just watched one down the start-finish straight, pulling in a 996 Porsche and rattling on past. So 5 litres of good, honest Aussie power works every single time. Gap between first and second between Christian Frankenhout. It was 0.5 of a second last time around, but Maxi Buch in the number 1 sister car is getting closer and closer and closer, 2 and 1, and they have 5 seconds clear of Jeroen Mol, who's got Renger van der Zande right on his tail.
So as they go down,
they're lapping now.
They are into traffic now, and immediately the second of those 2 Mercedes-Benz with Maxi Buch on board gets right underneath the rear aerofoil of the leader and watches for any opportunity. Are they going to get a gulf between them? No, they don't. But now cars that are battling for positions themselves as they go through Hugenholz right behind us. right in front of us, should I say.
Yeah, it was the Zest Motorsport car trying to keep out of the way, but Christian Frankenhout had to lift very slightly as he got the tail out just as he went out of Hugenholz's box. This could be the chance for Maxi Buch in number 1 to put one on his teammate, and of course he'll get to drive. They'll both get to drive both of those cars. How hard do they push? But I tell you, they're pushing very hard indeed. Traffic behaving so far down through Scheblach, out of our sight. Let's see who will come down to the chicane. Will it be number 2 in the lead, or will it be 1 this time around? Traffic, I think, John, will play a very big part.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because as we said, this is the start of a 12-hour race, but in their minds it is only a 3-hour segment. And I just wonder if people are driving a little harder. Those two Bens clearly want to get a gap on the field, Bruce, and I wonder if they know something that we don't about their fuel consumption. We have seen them not necessarily be the most fuel efficient cars when we've seen them in Bahrain in Dubai rather down through the years.
Yeah, quite right, John. Hardest thing I'm finding is concentrating. We can look out of all of the windows here and there's a battle everywhere we look. You look to your right and then we've got Arie Luijendijk-Bock, and you've got 4 or 5 cars coming in a group onto the start-finish straight. You look down at our feet, we've got Gerlach-Bock, again, another 4 or 5 cars, Hugenholz's box, and then you look up, there's the chicane. But where are 1 and 2, or is it still 2 and 1? Coming through the final corner to start another lap. The lights are flashing with the number 2 Mercedes as he picks off a couple of Renault Clios, a BMW 3 Series, and it's still Christian Frankenhout from Maxi Buch. Buch braking later than before down into Tarzan, but he cannot take that lead.
Yeah, this is going to be now just for the next 2 hours and 51 minutes. It's going to be massive concentration for the dark red, white and black Mercedes-Benz of Hofer Motorsport. We're keeping an eye on those because they are the cars at the front of the field, but I can tell you that Renger van der Zande in the 33, that is the car collection Motorsport, has gone through into 3rd position. His teammate Elmar Grimm is down in 7th position in the 3 cars. Jeroen Mull, who has finally had to give best, and already 7.5 seconds between the 2 Bens at the front of the field and Renger van der Zande in the car collection Motorsport GT3 SLS, who is now setting off in pursuit. So remember 7.6 seconds and see how that comes down.
And remember too what Renger said to Nick Damon earlier today, that they were slightly worried that their car was a little bit down on power. That's down on power, but not down in appearance. Number 33 looks fantastic with that livery. I was also just watching then Jiri Pisarik in the only Ferrari, the red number 9, and he's a little bit tentative in traffic, but certain parts of the circuit you have to hold some caution and display it, because Gerlach-Bock into Hugenholz's box, you've got almost no distance between the corners. You can very, very easily get in the way of a faster car, as we saw in the support race earlier when a Porsche 996 clouted the curbs on the inside of the Hugenholz box and nearly took the 3rd place runner, a Corvette, off into a wall. Luckily, it was avoided, but the drivers are going to have to just apply that tiny bit of caution. Gap between 1st and 2nd, it went down to 0.3 of a second last time around. It's gone out to 1.9 seconds this time. So Christian Frankenhout worked the traffic. It wasn't that Maxi Buch slowed down in the 2nd car. And of course, Maxi Buch was only brought into the team. He turned the quartets into quintets so that they could run the crews in both of the cars. 5 drivers will be driving, or 1 set of 5 drivers will drive both number 2 and number 1. But Maxi Buch lost out that time.
Martini car easy to pick out. That's the number 3 of Elmar Grimm in 7th position, now half a minute away from the leaders, and with lap times around the 1:44 second mark. What the danger is in this early part of the race on a lap this short, 4.3 kilometres, with all this traffic, you don't want to lose laps to the leaders in this first 3 hours. That's the thing that you want to be pushing hard to avoid.
Yeah, and of course we do have, as we said just after the start of the race, we have 3 hours and then we cancel the final lap effectively, and that could almost lose some drivers at 2 laps. They've got to be very, very careful indeed. I don't know who's going to be the first. If anybody's trying to take a different tactic and come in for fueling very early on, if they've worked out that will help them at the end of the race today, that can give them a good fuel load to start tomorrow. Gap between 1st and 2nd, 1.9 seconds last time around. Trying to see, as we go around the lap, whether Maxi Buch in the number 1 Mercedes can get any closer to race leader Christian Frankenhout in the sister car from Hofer Racing. So it's Mercedes SLS AMG's 1st and 2nd in this race, and Maxi Buch, who races them almost every weekend for HTP Motorsport, seeing if he can go into the lead.
Yeah, this is very, very exciting stuff. Don't forget you can follow along with the onboards and with some of the fixed cameras via the series website, which is www.live live24, live.24series.com. And we're here on radiolemans.com bringing you all the action from the opening section of the 12 hours, the Hankook 12 hours of Zandvoort. Just looking to see who's making up places further down the field. Jean-Michel Jerome in the number 17, which is the sixth place car in SP2. He's going, I saw the dark red BMW number 30, Donald Mole, who is making a big dive down the inside, but that was lapped traffic. I think that he was going past there.
Yeah, but what we saw, John, in the few laps that Donald Molinar got in the number 30 BMW this morning, was that he not only was quick, he was consistent.
Yes.
Within 0.2 of a second, lap after lap. He's probably done almost more laps here than pretty much anybody else. So you do expect that performance, but he's certainly making it work very well in leading the A5 class. He is in, just looking at position, he's gained a place. He went from 12th to 11th. And likewise, Jan Joris Verheuvel in the the Renault Megane trophy car gained a place to lead his class, which is SP2. He's up in 8th place.
So the opening salvos have been fired in the Hankook 12 hours of Zandvoort. We have got just over 2 3/4 of an hour to run, and we've settled into a nice little rhythm early. We don't expect to see safety cars, of course. We run under code 60 here in the Creventic event, and you're listening to radiolemans.com live from the Netherlands, just off the beach here at Zandvoort. Bruce Jones, Nick Damon and me, John Hindorf, watching a brilliant piece of, I think, controlled team driving at the head of the field here by the Hofer Racing Mercedes-Benz.
What happened there, John, was the gap between first and second went down to 0.3 of a second, out in traffic to 1.9. The next lap it was only 1.3, and then that was almost doubled, 2.6 now. So Christian Frankenhout leading the way, but then that battle for third place is only 3 car lengths between them, as Renger van der Zande in the Martini Mercedes just manages to keep Jeroen Mol in the Lamborghini Gallardo behind him, but he's really closing in. We thought Renger van der Zande would pull away, having got past on about lap 5, but maybe traffic or maybe inspired driving from Jeroen is keeping the Jeroen Mol, that is keeping the Lamborghini right on his chuff.
Benz, Lamborghini, and then Corvette are your top 5. 16 seconds separate. That's the top quintet, and Jeroen Mol is impressing me, holding on to the back of Renger van der Zande in that number 33 Mercedes-Benz, who seems to be suffering in traffic. And I wonder, you were talking about Renger saying perhaps they thought they might have been down on power. If you haven't got the punch, if you haven't got the torque, it is going to show in those traffic situations. And he's dropped away now. I said, remember, 7.6 seconds, now 11.2 seconds. And the leaders, unbelievable lap times in traffic, and even better when they get onto the clear circuit, of course. A 43.9 in traffic last time for the leader, Christian Frankenhout, doing a great job. He's pulled out now to 2.5 seconds of a gap between himself and his rather illustrious teammate, Maxi Burke, who responds with a 42.8 as soon as he gets some clear track, and the lap distance between them is down to 2.3 seconds. But they are pulling away from the rest of the field. This is impressive. I think they are really here, Bruce. They are laying down a massive, they're not just throwing down the gauntlet, they are rocket firing it from 40,000 feet to the ground. They're just saying, this is what we can do, can you catch us?
Yeah, and the fact is they clearly looked at this event, thought they could have 4 drivers driving 2 cars, worked out that he did 5, brought in a real pro in Maxi Burke, but he is certainly not dominating the show, because Christian Frankenhout putting on a fantastic drive. But the rest, it's a 10-second, 11-second gap now back to third place, with Renger van der Zande in the 33 Mercedes still trying his utmost to hold off Jeroen Mol in the Lamborghini. Then we've got the slightly battered but fixed Corvette, number 5, and then Yidi Passarik some way further back, another 12 seconds further back in the Ferrari in 6th place. Interesting, we were talking about power there. Nigel Farmer, not accustomed to great big SLS Mercedes, lost a bit of ground at the start. He's running in 10th place, but doing a good solid job and probably learning with every single lap.
Nick Damon is down in the pit lane. You got a fabulous view of the run down to Tarzan for the first time. No pit callers as yet.
No. We've had the 39 in. The 39 BMW 1 Series pulled in. As he went past me, it appeared to be smoking, and I thought it almost like it was smoking into the cockpit.
This is the Blandini Motorsport car that had the transponder problem earlier on.
But
Started at the back.
It was looked at and waved on, so it was stationary for 30 seconds for a bit of a look around, and it was waved on again. So obviously, whatever smoke it may have been, perhaps it actually was rear brake smoke, but it was odd. And obviously the driver was slightly concerned. And he was, oh no, off you go, carry on.
What did the start look like from ground level? It looked pretty good from here.
I did the tourist thing, and I went on the roof.
Yes, I loved everybody running across from one side to the other.
No, see, I was pre-warned that because I watched the support race from below the tower. I thought that was like fun, so I'm going to do that. So I've done the whole Zandvoort tourist thing as well.
But it is a Zandvoort tradition to see everybody run across the top. But the thing that made me laugh, there was a girl with probably the highest stilettos I've ever seen. I don't think she was sprinting from one side to the other.
Reminds me a little bit of first laps at Brands Hatch, where everybody runs off the pit wall
through the garage
and out to the chicken wire at the back of the pits. 2 hours 42 minutes to go, so we're coming up on 20 minutes completed. It's the two Hofer Racing Mercedes-Benz that lead now. Well, there's 2 seconds between them, and 11 seconds further back is the rest of the field, which is headed by the 33 Mercedes-Benz. That is the Car Collection Motorsport team driven by Renger van der Zande. Jeroen Mul is the first non-Benz. That is the lovely Lamborghini, the number 10 car. He's dropped to about 2 seconds behind Renger now. Now, the 5 Corvette, I think this is a real story here, because this car, remember, was rebuilt in the very short time between qualifying and getting the cars back out on the grid. And Diederik Zitjoff, who is the man who crashed the car, was given the honour of starting the race. And I do think that shows confidence as well from the team, and that's a smart move by the team manager. He's 6 seconds, nearly 7 seconds behind Jeroen Mul in the Lamborghini. In 5th position for him, but absolutely solid lap times. I was just about to say, I haven't seen him over 1:44. He's just gone to a 45.002 and counters with a 43.5 next time around. The Ferrari, the Praha team, Scuderia Praha car, Jiri Pesarik, is in 6th position and yet to cross the line. Here he comes right in front of us underneath the gantry, and that means I can tell you that he is 18 seconds behind 5th position. Elmer Grimm, the second of the Car Collection Motorsports Benz, in 7th position. He's got about 2.5 seconds on class leader number 90. Now, that is the A5 class leader, isn't it? The number 90 car, which, oh no, it's not. My apologies. Must be the SP2.
Which one's that, John?
Number 90, SP2 leader. Yes, it is.
Yes,
it's the Last Morris Racing team. Yeah. I'm confusing my classes. It is the Renault Megane, though. That I knew. I was just looking in the wrong part of the entry list for it. And has second in class the 88 car, the GC Automobile factory car, the one that didn't spin at the beginning. All France crew in that one, rather than the Team of All Nations in the 89 car. So it's the 88 car in second, placing class in 9th position. And rounding off the top 10 is Nigel Farmer, 8th position in the GT3 category. Just outside the top 10, in 11th, is the number 30. And that is...
That's the BMW, the red BMW.
Why have I got a mental block with
that
know. Car? You always get one.
It's the top Auto Tyler racing car with Donald Molinar, who was showing great form early on. Just while you were talking, John, the gap between first and second went out. It doubled. It went from just over 2 seconds as Buick brought it back in as he fought the traffic, and a much slower lap for both of them that time. It's now out to 4.1 seconds, then another 11 seconds back to number 33 in the third of the Mercedes at the head of this race. Renger van der Zande still just holding off the Lamborghini Gallardo of Jeroen Mul. So it's 2 from 1, and then we have 33 and then number 10, and then maybe the car that might... Oh, we have another pit caller for Nick to look at. It's number 73. It's a bright yellow and black striped Seat Leon coming into the pits.
Well, 39's come back as well.
Oh dear.
So 39's now at the far end. Look again with this smoke. And here comes the Seat literally to my feet.
That's the red Camel Seat.
73 machine. And the engineer opens the door, has a chat. Doesn't seem to be specifically wrong. He's picked up a bit of damage on the front, so I think he may have had a little bit of a... Yeah, I think he's had a coming together with somebody else. He's worried himself. There's scuffage on the lower part of the spoiler on the front left, the front right, and he's broken one of the strakes behind the wheels in the front right. And now they look at the engine. It's been spitting some oil out from the dipstick point. So that's back pressure, isn't it?
Yeah,
a little back pressure
or
issue.
Too much oil. Rookie error.
So that's been going on, but nothing particularly serious. The 39 car is still in the pits. The second time it's come. Oh, a man's got some duct tape out and some cable ties, so things are looking up.
So we've had duct tape, cable ties, and scuffage all in the same on the same report. People are drinking all over the world.
I can imagine. So there's been a coming together, and he's slightly deranged the front of the car, and I'm not quite sure what he's done, or whether it's a combination of things. And I think it's unsettled the way that the front is sitting on the three front panels, so the two wings and the bumper panel, and they are, I think, effectively going to use all the handy things you find in Tesco's and Halfords to reaffix them in a more solid way. But there doesn't seem to be any problem with the engine itself, apart from this back pressure on the dipstick, and they're putting a kind of retaining steel on the dipstick. But I get the feeling this may have been a stop caused more by psychological reasons than anything particularly wrong with it.
It's Nick Damon down in the pit lane. The Nissan 76, 12th position. In the lead of SP3, it's got a battle on its hands because right behind it is a SP2 car, and trying to get through that is the 86 right in behind it with Fred Lestrup at the wheel. I'm trying to pick out the leaders. Harry Hilders in the 41 leads A3T down in 28th. The D1, wow, that's coming through the field. The 72 car, remember that was so tight in qualifying, but we did have what would have been the pole sitter having its pole time disallowed for cutting the track, and it is now the 72 then, which is the Racing Team BMW, which was promoted to pole position, absolutely blowing the rest of the field away. And the A2 leader is down in 35th position, and that is the 47 car, which is the DK Racing event, the Denmark all-Dane car running down there.
Now, I'm going to say something that we don't often get to say. One of the GC competition cars is going very well. GC Automobiles now leading SP2. We've just had change last time round. Jeremy Raymond in the 88, which is the BMW lookalike. The V8 6.2 litres, number 88, has gone ahead in SP2 of Jan Joris Verheuvel in number 90, which is the Renault Megane Trophy team car that was on class pole for that. So it's a story of success and a little bit of frustration for GC, because of course the sister car, the white number 89 entry, went round on the opening lap and was static for some while before it got going. And that is down. 89 is just trying to look onto the other screen, way back behind, but he would have been picking his way up the order. That was the first car that got past. Has he had another problem and fallen off? We go, first screen gives us the top 20. We lose a few people top and bottom on the screen. He's probably between 21st and 25th. Because if you go to screen 2, we start with 25th place, and the screen 1 ends with 20. So
you've got kind of a black hole of
a twilight zone.
Yeah. Just so you know, 39 received a jump start and got going again via the petrol station, so he's going to get some more fuel. So I don't know whether he's got an electrical problem or whatever.
31st position.
Whereas 73 is still being stared at, so perhaps he does have a real problem, but they aren't getting very close, and they've plugged a computer in. That's pretty advanced. This is one of these Seat Leon cars, which I know when they were in the Seat Cupra Championship did have the ability to have the most really strange reliability issues which couldn't be sorted because of their gearboxes.
Well, and they are very, very electronic reliant, as we found out in the 360 last year, when one of the cars that we were racing against, not in class, had some issues.
Car into the pits. This car 30 is going to go straight in the garage.
Oh, well, that was a class leader.
Yes, it
was.
He's going in. That's the car.
Donald Molinar.
He started 12th, leading the A5 class.
Yes, he started. He had the disadvantage of being interviewed by me on the grid.
Well, he's given up the lead in A5 now to Michael Tischner in the Tischner BMW, the number 29.
This is going straight on the high jacks and we're straight into the garage. So it's a more defined problem they know about, and they're going to try and fix it. Bonnet up. Can't see anything leaking out of it. So not sure what the problem is at the moment. Driver staying in the car. That's surprising to get quite so many mechanical issues so early in the race, must admit. So it's 3 now.
Yeah, and it's in good conditions, and but we've got a great, much more excitement in the battle for third place. Renger van der Zande has got Jeroen Mol catching right up, so the number 33 Mercedes is having the 10 Lamborghini close right in onto his tail, but the number 5 Chevrolet Corvette is catching both of them, doing far better in traffic.
I'm very, very impressed with Jerzy Pisarich in the number 9. That's the Ferrari, of course. He has more than held his own. We are just coming up to 28 minutes since the start of the race. It'll be interesting to see how far these cars go into the race before the 120 litre tanks. They could easily do an hour, I think, around here. Will they do an hour, or will they come in when they can top off with 110, 115, whatever litrage they've got?
Well, we heard on the grid before the race, you know, the drivers have got to consider how much fuel they want to start tomorrow's 9-hour segment of this race. Do they want to start with a full tank or come in early on? I doubt they'd want to come in early on, so do they make their first pit stop early? We will see. 2.0 seconds between first and second.
The 30 car has literally been waggled with slightly, had a computer plugged in and plugged out, and is back off its way again. So whether it actually was having a misfire and they've sorted it, I don't know, but it has had no visible work done, no visible parts replaced, no tape, no tyre wraps, but it is back out its way. And interestingly, it didn't take the opportunity to stop at the petrol station, so he's just gone out to do laps.
Judge, for those of you listening on RadioLeMans.com and trying to follow along either on the video or the timing and scoring from the series website, there are one or two issues at the moment which are being caused by how many people are listening as the 75 BMW round Hugenholtz right in front of me goes on the high line, is what you would say if you were looking at that as a left-handed part of an oval, or riding the outside buffer on or the berm rather, if it was on a dirt track. Cushion, that was the word I was looking for, riding the cushion if it was a stock car race on dirt. He was very lucky to get away with that.
The wall there it's just a concrete face, is painted white, but there are various scuff marks.
Oh, yes.
He was very close indeed. It's obviously painted white every single meeting, painted afresh, but already we have the scuff marks. I don't think anyone's hit it yet in this race. I can't vouch for sure for the previous one. We talked a moment ago about Jan-Joris Verheugen in number 90, the Renault, losing ground and losing the place to Jeremy Raymond in the number 88 GC. Within a lap that had flipped again, so maybe Jan-Joris got caught in traffic, maybe had a moment, but he's clearly the faster of those two drivers.
And at the head of the field, Maxi Burke is now just 0.3 of a second away from his teammate leader as they carve their way through traffic past the Porsche 996, the number 17 car, the green, black and white machine, as they go into Hugenholtz and now climbs a hill. If anything, the leader just gets a little more traction. Frankenhout getting a better run out of Hugenholtz and already among more traffic. They have to be so careful here. I wonder if Maxi deliberately gives the leader a bit of space when they hit traffic, so that I know they're racing each other, but they're all in the same team. There's no sense in them. If one makes a mistake, both of them going. We've got a course car out. We've got one of the Nissan pickups is down the front straight and heading towards Tarzan. The amber lights are on. We've not gone to code 60 yet. Let's see where he goes.
There's another course vehicle going through turns 11 and 12.
Oh, and we've got
the 7 SLS has come into the pits as well.
That was in about 10th place. It's just come in from
Nigel Farmer's car, isn't it?
That is GDL Racing.
Quick feedback on the 73 also. The problem with that Seat Cupra is it just lost all power. The reason they've been searching and taking things off, they thought it might be the turbo pipe had either split, gone or burst, but unfortunately they can't find anything wrong. So they can only assume it's a mechanical turbo issue, which is bad news for them. That number 7 has been off the track.
Right.
Off the track because they are scooping out half of one of the gravel traps.
Yeah, see the bonnets up. Thank you. Some were pointed out to us, but I still can't see. Maybe it's as a result of that, because I can't see any points of the 70% or so of the circuit where anything is untoward as we look down from our wonderful vantage position.
Well, the Nissan pickup truck has gone to the cut through just over the top of the hill from Hugenholtz right in front of us and pulls off to driver's right. White flag's been waved with some gusto to show that there is a course car there. It pauses for a moment and continues, and is now completely out of the way. So I wonder if they picked up a bit of debris there, Bruce, and white flags have been withdrawn.
Yeah, it's quite possible. I wasn't too keen on him having to cross the track, but he managed to get clear view behind him and was on the left of the track as they went over Hunsrück. This is the course vehicle. But he's peeled round through the loop, and he's now on that back straight, running down from turn 10 to 11 and 12, which is Hans Ernst. Have we got a spell? Oh, someone's gone straight through the gravel. and is behind a barrier there, John, down at the chicane. Someone's
got it.
Kicked straight in. I can't see who it is. Oh, someone's come out slowly, largely white. Is their car? Can't make out. White and blue. It's probably a BMW 120, I reckon.
Yeah. Oh, 3 wide coming up behind him. He's got a lot of traffic. It was the all-white BMW.
Or was it? Someone else is suggesting it was one of the Mark Cars 92 entry. We'll see when they come.
See when he comes round.
It's very annoying. We can see so much of the circuits, but at certain points they just drop behind the barriers. And my golly, weaving down the start-finish straight.
Is there a possibility that the amount of gravel and the SLS in front of me is related to the car and the gravel you have behind you as well? So
it's Jake Camilleri in the 93, isn't it, that has had the issue in that Mark V8 car. That's the one without the black on the back. I remember that now.
I think it's 92, actually, John. I think it's which I think had Michael Benton at the wheel. We'll see.
Had a bunch of Aussie auto journalists in some of those cars at Bathurst, along with the Fiat's 500, the Abarth 500.
Yeah, it's 92.
It is 92, you're right. He's gone by though, Bruce.
But he has. He had the moment, just to explain, as you come back down from the far end of the circuit, you get to a very tight right, leading into a longish left, and you've got the final 2 corners, but he just went straight on. He slightly turned into the corner, outbraked himself, crossed the gravel, rejoined at the exit of the left-hander.
Well, there's still a yellow flag down at turn 10, and I wonder if that's, and there's an oil flag at 13. Are any of these things related? That's the question. Sadly, it's just over the top of that dune that we can't see.
Entirely. And also,
car 39 has stopped. Here's the issue.
That's the Blendini Motorsport car.
That's the car that was in and out of the pits. The BMW
Z3 M Coupe.
The bread van has pulled up out on the far side of the circuit from us.
And just to let you know, while all this is happening, we're trying to spot all the problems out on the circuit. The gap between the leader, Christian Frankenhout, in number 2 Mercedes, and Maxi Book in the number 1 sister car is down to less than a second.
Has been for a little while, as through goes Yeshi Pisarik through traffic.
And car 7 rejoins everyone after leaving most of the gravel trap on the pit apron.
Well, was there a driver change, or is
no,
Nigel Farmer?
No, Nigel stayed inside. So he's not expecting a stop from the 93, I think, in a minute for tyres. So is that the car that went off?
No, that was 92 went off.
I think what it is, it's the end. It's this thing with Preventic, where the obviously all the engineers have a high-vis jackets which are related to a certain car number, but they're still allowed to work on the cars of their sister team. So whilst it says 93 and 91, I'm sure they're the engineers of 92 with the complete set of tyres for that car as well.
The lead is 1.2 seconds then between first and second. Thanks, Nick.
Just a quickie, John. 92 had that slow lap, and then when it next got round to Hans Ernst's corner, went straight on for a second time. So whoever's at the wheel of that 5-litre Focus is having a big problem under braking. And this time he is coming into the pits.
I wonder if he's the one who's losing the oil and he's actually getting it on his own tyres.
I think you're right there, John.
Although it's not all the way around the circuit, if I'm honest. We've only got the top 44. Well, we haven't got all of the top 44, have we? That's the other thing that we've worked out. So apologies if we're not mentioning the cars. Nick Damon?
Sorry about that. I was just in preparation for the arrival of the 92 5-litre Ford Focus. Nothing obviously trailing out the back of the car apart from gravel and dust. So no oil or fluids coming from that car. That car's going straight onto the secure jacks, even though it's in the pit lane. Having a look around, it does seem like it's mainly suffered from a massive amount of gravel collection. Now, whether that has got into the brakes and caused the second off, I've no idea. But they're doing a tyre change. The driver is staying in. So it looks like tyres and a clean-up. So nothing else untoward visible.
Heck of a battle going on for A2. The first 3 are within 5 seconds. Martin Byford in 3rd position in the 57, the Honda, is trying to chase down the 106. That was another car, by the way, the 106, that got a lap disallowed in qualifying. It's Jakob Christensen, rather, at the wheel of that. He is closing down lap on lap. And in fact, Martin Byford got down to just on 2 minutes, which for an A2 car is very quick round here. Jakob is closing down on Kasper Jensen, who leads the A2 category at the moment in the number 47 car, which is the DK Racing Renault Clio. And all of those guys are together on the timing screen as well as on the track. The 106, by the way, is the K-Riser Clio, and Martin is in, as I say, in the Honda, isn't he?
One driver.
30-second down over that is, by the way.
One driver we haven't picked up on going very well, started in 16th place up to 12th, is Christian Dick in the lone Ginetta G50. He's running second in the SP3 class, but the pace has been set throughout by the Nissan Academy Holland car, if we can call it that, with Sander Van Ness, a driver who knows this circuit very well. A couple more cars coming into the pits. The MG, the lone MG ZR, that's number 99, and on the end of a rope, sadly, is the number 39.
Yeah, and that is being recovered back to the pit lane.
Yep, they're both going past me now. The 39 is, you say, on the back of a tow truck, whereas the MG from, I think, the previous incarnation of MG Rover rather than the Chinese version, sporting its Derwent roofing advertising, and it appears to be a it's in the standard. It's checking the rear tyre pressure. I've been looking under the car, a bit of a peer-a-thon. The driver's opened the door having a chat with one of his teammates. So obviously it's not feeling quite right at the back, but beyond that, not much more is going on. Who's at the wheel of the three? Is it Colburn or Walker who's driving this?
Car number, please.
99.
99.
Probably Cole.
Unfortunately,
because it's his car.
Yes, I would think he would have started it.
And the jack now is going up with it, and it's a nice manual jack, so obviously these cars don't have the air jacks on them for whatever their standard class is. And they're racing in probably the MG Challenge about 10 years ago. And there's a bit of waggling going on, and so they think there could be an issue with the mounting to the rear end. But that's it. Again, it's another one where I think the car just feels wrong, and they're giving it a bit of a test.
Don't forget, they were a British touring car as well, with the one with the boot on, the ZR.
So that was a different chassis, wasn't it? That was the based on the Rover 75 rather than the Rover 45.
No, absolutely not.
This is the Rover 25, isn't it?
Yes, and the Rover 45 is a 25 with a boot.
But I thought that I think that the touring car was based originally on the V6, which was the Rover 75.
Yes, but that wasn't. Let me tell you.
Go on.
That was the same chassis as the car that you're looking at. It wasn't a 75 because the 75's V6 was a 2.5 litre, and you were only allowed 2 litres. It was a 2 litre 6-cylinder. They were talking about making it a 6-cylinder engine. In the end, it went to, because the 1.8 couldn't be used because you couldn't take it out. They actually used the LMP2 motor, or the 675 motor, for a while, which was a 2 litre turbocharged car, and they just used that motor instead for a while. But it definitely wasn't the 75, mate. The 75 was a BMW designed and built car, and much bigger. It was evaluated. The 75 was evaluated for British touring cars, but never used.
I bow down to your considerably.
It just so happens that I know better about that one.
No, I understand why. So I'm not.
I did the launch. I did the launch at Longbridge for the race cars, which was Team Atomic Kitten originally.
Oh, of course, it was yes. God, was this 03 or 02, or is it even earlier?
It would be 02 probably. Yeah, 02 or 01. Yeah.
Well, therefore you win. And but anyway, the good news is he's gone out again. But I missed whether he went via the fuel station. I don't think he did. And also the 39's gone back out again, so that car has had three pit stops and a tow back. And
I'll tell you what you notice about that, in all seriousness, and we're arguing about which car it was or it wasn't. Look how small that car is compared to more contemporary family, in inverted commas, cars that you would think of as touring cars nowadays.
It's like that. The obvious example of that is if you ever put a classic Mini next to a modern Mini, and they're both considered to be the same sort of Mini class in the surrounding stratosphere of motor vehicles, and the classic Mini probably has a footprint of most 2/3 of the new Mini.
I've got to tell you, we've lost the Ferrari.
No!
The Scuderia Praha car with Pisarik.
He's down in 26th place. He's dropped onto the second screen. But
I don't think he's moving.
He can't be moving. He's 3 laps down, and that won't have happened.
And on the GPS, I was looking for him. He was in sector 2 on the GPS. In fact, rejoined. Just comes up on the bottom.
Okay, well, let's see where we can pick him up, John.
See, I cursed him. I said he was doing a good job.
I'm by his pit, and they're bringing out new tyres as we speak.
Okay, he's just coming down into the chicane. He must have lost it somewhere between Shivlach and turn 9 or 10. What sort of speed is he travelling at? Oh, yes, he has the makings of someone who's coming into the pits this time around, braking quite early for the penultimate corner, which is Kumo Bocht. Meanwhile, out at the front, the gap between first and second has crept out from under a second. It's now 3.8 seconds that Christian Frankenhout is leading in the number 2 Mercedes, ahead of Maxi Buch in the number 1. And still there's just under a second between Renger van der Zande in the 33 Mercedes in third place and Jeroen Mul. Jeroen appears to be the faster of those two drivers, but traffic and trying to pass, it just hasn't worked.
We have our first bit of Keystone Cops. Car 38 came in for a pit stop and completely misses pit. And he's gone past about 4 pits past. He's now been pushed back down the line. So that's the white 125 door, the car 38. And it was quite amusing because the team manager first of all waved him. He didn't see where he was talking on the radio, and I think he was using language that is not of the greatest quality. But interestingly, the car, that wasn't a routine stop. The 38 has gone into the garage. He's about to go on some blocks. So not only was he lost, but he's got a technical problem as well.
That is the Velman Voss D1, the diesel car. I wonder if Jeroen Mul is playing a pretty sensible tactical game here, because he's allowing Renger van der Zande effectively to clear the way for him. Blue flags, somebody sees you. He's staying at about a second and a half. Renger's not getting up the road. They've dropped back to well over 20 seconds behind the Benz pair in the lead as well. That's the other thing. Their lap times consistently around the 45s, 46s, whereas the leading cars are 44s and 45s.
Yeah, no, it has been. But when they've had clear laps earlier in the race, we were seeing 142s out of the top couple of drivers. So, but then again, it's only the opening laps that they've had a free run of traffic.
92 Ford Focus is back out and on the circuit after its trials and tribulations early on. Just goes through Hans-Jürgen Holzbach right in front of me, which is the left-handed hairpin, down into the hairpin and then climbing up just after the apex. It's quite annoying. If that hill just came a little bit further, you'd really be able to get the power on a bit earlier, but you've got to wait and be patient, almost make it a 2 apex corner if you come in on the ideal line, which is what Dietrich Sithoff is trying to do at the moment. You miss what looks like the first apex, staying in the middle of the road in the first half of the corner, and take a really late one and let the hill straighten you out just a little bit. It's 2 from 1, the 2 Hofer Motorsport Mercedes-Benz, with now 25 seconds between the second of those, Maxi Buch and Renger van der Zande. Nick?
The 38 car has had a coming together with another car or a piece of track furniture, because he has bent front right rim quite substantially. They are now trying to replace, they're doing a big check of the front right suspension, but he's really, put it this way, he's curved it worse than someone in a Tesco car park, put it that way. He's absolutely bent off the sides. And they are, it's a bit worse. That noise was a panic as they search for spares, and that curbing, or where it'll come in together, has also broken something else, because they have just pulled out a load of connectors and wires from that front right wheel hub. So this car is going to be in for a while they try and sort out the issues caused by that coming together stroke accident for the front right.
Nick, another one you could maybe check on is Koroyzer Racing's Lotus Evora. Torsten Kratz has brought that car in, and he's tumbled right down the order, 102.
Okay, that's impressive, because I hadn't even seen that car coming in.
No, nor had I.
Now, where is 102? Okay, I will report back.
Got a couple of battles on the circuit, or at least leaders. Harry Hilders is still leading A3T in the 41, and he's got about 28 seconds on Martin van der Persche in the second place 42 car. Johan van Lurch, who took from pole position in the D1 leader, the diesel leader, he's got Wubbe Haller at his heels. Well, he did have, but that all of a sudden has gone out to 20 seconds, and they were having a bit of a battle not so very long ago. In A2, it's still Kasper Jensen who leads in the 47 from Christensen. These are all Renaults, those two are Renaults rather. And Martin Byford has got the gap down now to just 0.2 of a second between himself and Jakob Christensen. And I'm just waiting to see as they come by us shortly. They should be coming down the front straight any second now, I think. Watch for the Honda. I'm just wondering if Martin Byford might have slipped through there into second place. Yes, he has. He has missed him going through in front of us. But Martin Byford in the 57, which is the Honda, has gone through. Now, can he close down on the leader? That is Kasper Jensen in the 47, that little Renault Clio. And where is that on the circuit? I'm going to try and pick these guys up on the circuit because Martin is taking to this circuit like a duck to water. It doesn't look that much like Snetterton, which is normally the best at. I've seen him.
A few corners might match, but
he told me once he'd raced Snetterton backwards in a Formula Ford.
I've raced parts of it backwards in a Formula Ford.
Yeah,
well, I'm not sure whether that was quote-unquote official, but there was a Formula Ford race that was run the wrong way around Snetterton, the old Snet, of course. Half a second, the car's in the lead.
The 102 is indeed in the pits and sneaks in without my knowledge. The Corroiser Lotus Evora, and it has an issue with the right-left of the rear left of the car. They are
the rear right-left.
The right-left, no, yeah, the rear. It looks like they're replacing a tow link. I can't see any sign of an accident around that. So either the replacement body can work already, which is unlikely. I think it's more likely that the car's had a slight suspension failure or wobbliness, and they are replacing that particular piece of equipment.
It's Nick Damon down in the pit lane.
I know we shouldn't just watch the lead battle. In fact, we're watching all the battles, but as the Ferrari, which we lost earlier on, is going on its way again, Christian Frankenhout now just 0.6 of a second ahead of Maxi Buch. 2 Mercedes still ahead of its sister car by that little fraction.
And Peseric dropped down to 30th position. Already made up a couple of places there. I'm trying to see where's Martin Byford. He should be coming through any second now.
As you
there
say,
he is,
he crosses
the
the
black
start
57, and Martin is 12 seconds behind Kasper Jensen, and for once doesn't lap anywhere near 2 minutes. He's lost 4 seconds last time around as Jensen puts in a 58.8 in the 47 Renault Clio, and that pulls him clear by 11 seconds, as I say.
And to give you a sight, as you said that, going over Hunsrück was the 47 Renault, just in the way of the race leaders, and coming through Gerlach-Bocht, that is 12 seconds on the track, was the Martin Byford in the synchro.
Thank you very much to the guys.
Oh, they've squeezed it onto one screen, you are genii.
Who have once again proved that they are A, brilliant because the timing is, and B, listening because we've got everything on the screens that we need now. And so thanks to timeservice.nl for getting that sorted out. Trying to see who else is improving. We're right down to 50th now, which is Nigel Farmer in the number 7. So let's, as we're coming round to just under 10 minutes before the first hour of this 3-hour portion.
Number 5 Corvette coming into the pits, John.
All right, thank you.
And that looks like a scheduled stop because it's the driver's actually got out for the first time.
Set of tyres waiting for it.
Tyres waiting for it. Yeah, I mean, no idea. It seems quite early, but
49 minutes that is, mate.
May well be part of their tactics to get the drivers rotating through this first 3 hours and to get the right amount
51 minutes.
Get the right amount of fuel in the car. It looks like we've got some more. We've got another caller just rolling behind him, which is one of the older BMW 3 Series. It's the red one.
That's number 30, who was leading his class earlier on.
It's his second stop for 30.
Donald Molyneux.
After the problem last time, which was a mysterious misfire. Obviously that's not got better because he's gone back and the number 5 is out and rolling after the driver change. So a few cars with problems, and a few cars who are beginning to look at what their strategy is for this first portion of the race.
Yeah, so that's 28 laps, 51 minutes, including 2 formation laps, of course, for that car. That's something that someone needs to write down somewhere. Martin Byford in the black Honda Civic is carving his way through traffic. That is a very mean and moody looking Civic, isn't it?
It's absolutely fantastic. It's just to explain, it's all black with white sign writing. I like the fact that the Union flag's just white on a black window.
Yeah.
Everything is very duotone, and it really does look great. We talked before the start of the race about how the quality of car liveries have just skyrocketed in recent years, and one of the best examples of that just comes below us is one of the two little Peugeot 208 GTIs, white with pale blue across the bottom, but just a little dark blue key line over the top. Looks very tidy, very clean. Another thing I like is that quite a few of the cars, particularly for some reason the Danish entries, they run with their national flag on the roof of the car, which I think really adds something. It's very, very cosmopolitan, all the Creventic events.
There was a year, wasn't there, at Le Mans, I think it may have been the first year that the prototype 2 cars got, the LMP2 cars got the fin, where everybody started putting the national flag or a stylised version thereof on the fin. And frankly, I think that's the best thing you can do with the fin. I thought it looked great.
Yeah. Didn't always sit so wonderfully with some of their own liveries, but it gave a very clear identity.
We're hearing that the Seat 73 that was we said was having problems earlier on, and thanks for the tweets, by the way, if you're listening from one of the teams at Specutator. This is the Red Camel Tactics Netherlands-Zandvoort car for Rick Breukers, among others, had a broken exhaust manifold, but Stefan, who has retweeted this to me, Red Camel Racing, saying we'll be back out again as soon as we get the replacement. So if any of the teams are listening at Specutainment, would be a good thing for you to tweet your bits and bobs to. And use the hashtag, by the way, everybody should be using the hashtag 12HZV. Hashtag 12HZV. 7/10 of a second at the head of the field. 6 minutes to go before the first hour of racing is complete. And Bruce Wright and I were just saying before the race got underway, when Nick was starting his grid walk, it seemed at about 11 o'clock that it, or 10 o'clock that it should have been 4 o'clock in the afternoon, morning had dragged rather, and then from midday to race start seemed to disappear in the blink of an eye, and frankly the last 55 minutes has done exactly the same.
Entirely so, John, and I mean the gap between the support race, end of the support race and the start of this race was absolutely nothing, and a Ferrari now going slowly down the back.
In the gravel at Tarzan, we have
green, white and blue entry, trying to work out what that might be.
I'm really hoping.
Is that the Red Camel? No, I thought it might have been the...
well, the Snatch tractor is there.
It's not the Red Camel's Audi. I'm just trying to work...
Is it a Porsche?
I think
is it number 17?
The isn't it?
Speed Lover one.
Porsche, yeah.
Could be number 17, the 997 GT3.
It's interesting because everyone, about 40 people have walked out into the NCP area of the pit lane.
You know that
they can appear down and see what's happening.
If it is it could well be number 17. That started right down at the tail of the field and had worked its way up into 17th, 18th place. He gained about 25 positions and was picking them off down the straight lap after lap. I wonder if he just tried one move too many and outbraked himself.
In comes BMW 75. It's one of the diesel cars. That's the SV Racing.
Deranged rear wing, and almost had an accident with poor Oasis machine in the pit lane.
That is the second place car in D1. That's Wubehela, who was chasing down Johan van Loo. And that is one of the real favourites, and it's going straight into the box, Nick.
I don't know why, but I need to have a look at it, but the rear wing appears to have failed in its mountings, because it's a very high mounted wing, so you can't really see how an accident is going to cause that. But no, it has had the rear wing has fallen off on one side.
Well, I wonder if it's been a part of the accident at turn one.
There's no other damage shown, and the wing is undamaged as well. It's actually a failure. It's a failure of the mounting. It says sheared off. The mounting is sheared off its upper mount, so it's a metal failure. So they're going to find a new mounting and undo and redo the 4 screws. But that's I don't know how much difference the wing makes in these cars. I'm sure it's a few pounds of downforce, but that is a manufacturing problem.
Confirmation, by the way, of the 17 cars woes at the first corner. Borrowed our Dutch colleagues' binoculars there, having left mine at home. Now somebody's just left the pitch in a BMW and locked it up.
But that was the one that lost its wing.
Oh, they've just pulled it off and sent it.
Yeah, pulled it off.
No. That's behind me. I think it's the 39 came back in again after it's 100.
No. 39 pulled in, was nearly collected as the one that had the wing pulled off rejoined. Number 38 has rejoined.
The Porsche has pulled itself all the way back down the gravel.
Yeah, it was released by the Snatch tractor and then just gave it full power and drove to the end when it was stopped by an irate marshal. The question is now, can it get moving again?
Well,
he can.
He has. He's got out again.
He's not going to leave a grey trail of gravel round Tarzan, is he?
It looks like 1981 when Gilles Villeneuve spun.
Oh, hold on a second. Number
times.
33 is going past one of its
doors
open. The gull wing door on the third place.
It's the driver's side
door.
But the problem is, as we saw at Bathurst, you can't reach that because it's up there. Now at Bathurst, the Mercedes-Benz parked next to a marshal's post. This was during qualifying, I think, not the race, if I remember rightly, at the Liqui Moly 12 hours. And the Renger van der Zande has problems there.
Jeroen Mol right onto his tail in that battle for third place, and van der Zande clearly can't drive as fast as he went through Scheblach out of our sight. I'm going to look, and in about 10 seconds' time, we'll see who comes around through turn 10 in third place.
Just going back to the early 1980s, it was Gilles Villeneuve in the Ferrari that got spun around at the start of that race here at Zandvoort and went onto the grass and then into the gravel and just spread dirt everywhere in the braking area going into Tarzan. Here it's right on the turn-in and clipping point of Tarzan that the issue is going to be for Daybreak.
John, we could have a change of place. Just look up at the chicane coming into it in third place with the door a cock, but diving past into third place goes Jeroen Mol in the Lamborghini.
Well, van der Zande made a tactical error there. He should have pushed the car to the other side, and then you would have had to panic to whether you were going to hit the door that was open or not. When somebody says, hey, Renger van der Zande can really make that Mercedes-Benz very wide indeed, well, at speed, the air pressure does force the gull wing door down just a wee bit, and it makes it very wide indeed. He's got to pit. He has got to pit.
The door has closed.
No way.
The door is down on number 33. Whether he's holding it down now, I do not know, but he's certainly braking late enough, trying to go the inside the GC, the white GC Automotive 89. He wants to get back at Jeroen Mol, but Jeroen Mol has about a second's advantage. That must have been a lap and a quarter.
Well, maybe he was just a bit warm.
Yeah, he's a very cool guy, so I doubt it.
Well, I'm looking at it now. We'll get a look as it goes round.
It's sitting flush.
There's no damage. There's no scratches on that car. And I just wonder whether he was able to give it a wiggle, or the only other thing he might have done is to have pulled the hydraulic ram and somehow disconnected that so it dropped down under its own weight. There's an issue with that when you come around to pit stops.
But the door was still up, the gull wing door on the left of the car as he headed into the penultimate corner, but then that's a series of two left-handers, and by the time he came onto the start-finish straight, that door was down. Back into fourth place now. Jeroen Mol has put the Lamborghini Gallardo number 10 up into third. Can he escape now?
All a bit busy down here, boys. But the number 30 went back out of the pits again, the BMW, to be replaced almost immediately by the number 29 BMW with a problem which looks like he's having his oil topped up, so obviously he's got an oil burnage issue. And we've also had that errant Porsche, the 17 machine, come back. Doesn't look particularly like it's got any damage, apart from the fact obviously it's been in the gravel trap for a very long time. But the driver's got out, so obviously the reason it went in the gravel trap has caused it some issues. So perhaps it's overheated, but the car is up on the stilts, back in the garage, and they're looking at it, even though it didn't seem, when it drove in, to have any issues.
So we move into the second hour here, just off the beach at Zandvoort. Bruce Jones, Nick Damon and John Hindhoff. Hello there, if you are just joining. What a fantastic 60 minutes of racing. Here's how it stands. 1.8 seconds between the teammates at Hofer Racing, the two Mercedes-Benz 2 and 1, Christian Frankenhout and Maxi Buch, as it has been since the drop of the green flag just over 60 minutes ago. Renger van der Zande has just got back into third place. He was sitting in a pretty solid third place rather, for quite a lot of the opening stint. She's had an interesting one where his driver's side, left-hand side door popped open, and the gull wing, of course, was difficult to reach, but somehow he's got it closed again. Jeroen Mol has come into the pit lane from third position, and that's why Renger van der Zande has regained that spot. So 2-1. 10 and 33 at the hour, with Jeroen Mol coming in the Lamborghini pretty much exactly on the 1 hour mark.
And he has not taken tyres, he's not changed drivers, he's just gone for fuel, John.
Big mover in the first hour, Elmer Grimm in the first actually, as it is, of the car collection motorsports car, because the 33 car has dropped out of contention. In 5th position now, sitting in the bottom end of the top 10 for most of that first hour. And then we start with the class leaders. It's only the top 5 now that are the GT3 cars. This is because we have had some early stops, notably for the V8 Racing Corvette number 5, which sits down in 18th position but has done its first pit stop. It indeed is the first car that has made its stop. That was about 8.5 minutes ago. So leading SP2 and 6th overall is the number 90, and that actually is 3 SP90s. The number 90 just off the lead lap, by the way. We should mention that before I go on to this, that it is only the top 3 now that are going to be on the lead lap, but remember they do owe some pit stops. So 90 in SP2 lead at the moment, Jan Joris Verheul, who's impressed you. Sorry.
Yeah, it's impressed me a great deal. He's been driving here for a very long time at Zandvoort, and he was sort of in this car, then he was dropped from the car to make way for Duncan Hussman to drive the car, then he came back in. There was the sight of the red GC Automotive Special, the 6.2 litre V8 getting ahead of it on the charts, but I think they had a problem with number 90, but it clearly is the class of the SP2 field and is now pulling away. Just want to point out another car from the top class that's made a pit stop is the Corvette.
That is the only one that's made that.
No, along with Jeroen.
But he's not out yet. That is the leading car that's made the pit stop.
Okay, to explain, it's down in. He was 18th place a second ago. He's now up. Alex Van Hoff has taken over from Diederik Sithoff, up to 16th now in the number 5 Corvette.
So the Lars Morris Racing team, the McGann Trophy car, leads SP2 in 6th. Behind them, the 88 is the GC Automotive in 2nd place, and the 86 is the Bezerplas Racing Audi, the TTRS. They are all together on the timing screen. SP3 led by the 370Z. Sander van der Esse is still at the wheel of that, started that car, now in 9th position. A5, Jeroen Dember, added to that A5 number 82, as we heard from Nick on the grid when he was talking to that team. And that is in 13th position and has time. And where's the other leaders? A3T, Harry Hilders, now still leading by that around about 27 seconds from Martin van der Berg, 41 from 42. Martin Byford has not managed to close on Kasper Jensen, the Clio number 47 from the black Honda 57. It's still 12 seconds out there. Jakob Christensen's dropped back to about 5 seconds away in the 106 Renault in 3rd position. In D1, it is still... Is the D1 leader gone? Oh, he's on the first page, excuse me. It's Johan van Loo, of course, in the 72, which is the Recce Racing team. And that is the BMW. There is a Seat Leon in there, and there's a Golf Mark V TDI as well, the TTC racing car number 71, but it seems to be BMWs that hold sway there.
Talking about Seat Leons, John, the 44s S Racing team from down the road from you just came in for what doesn't look like a scheduled stop. They had problems obviously in qualifying as well, where they effectively just taped up all the gaps in the car. So I'm not quite sure what that was about. They taped on the back of the front balance, they taped up the boot lid. So whether it was getting drafted, whether they felt there was something wrong with it, I don't know. But they didn't do anything else apart from just pour tape over the car. And the number 10 emerged, that's the Lippert Lamborghini, emerged from the fuel stop about a minute ago. So that's obviously gives you an idea of how long it takes to get the cars fueled. As the 39 BMW stops in front of me and makes it 176th stop already.
And just to let you know that you just mentioned Jeroen Mul's Lamborghini, he's rejoined in 8th place, or was in 8th place when he came round to complete that lap.
And thank you to Joshua, who reminds me it was during a safety car period at Bathurst at the Liqui Moly 12 hours when the Mercedes-Benz had to stop and have one of the marshals jump over the wall. Gunther Deutsch has just put the fastest lap of the race in for the 5th place SP2. That is the 89 car, which is the GC automobile that spun early on and is now fighting back through the field, and he's back up to 14th position. And Nick Damon has the 2nd place car in the pit lane.
And he just went straight past me and went to get some fuel in his big old SLS. So tyres, obviously, the Hankook tyres, new for this event. Everyone has the same compound, just different sizes. They were just literally drove down the pit lane and went to get some fuel. So the double or triple sitting of tyres not an issue, but 5.5 litre engine does need some juice.
Well, let's see if Christian Frankenhout brings the sister car, the race-leading number 2 SLS, in next time around. So for the moment, Christian Frankenhout sits on a big lead from Renger van der Zande. They haven't pitted. Maxi Boek, of course, is listed as third on our timing sheets. He will fall down the order. So up into third place, really, on the run will be Elmer Grimm, who started the number 3 Mercedes SLS and for the car collection. And he's up to third, so let's see how long. I'm sure the fueling stops will be very similar for the Lamborghini and for the Mercedes SLSs. But Christian Frankenhout leading the way for number 2.
So we're into the second hour of this fantastic split endurance. Still an endurance race, certainly for the machinery. Everybody else gets a night off, but it's definitely an endurance race. I remember the first couple of Nürburgring 12 hours that we did when we had 24 hours rather that we did, where we had stops in the middle of the night, and that's happened a couple of times. Cars there, however, don't have to sit under the Parc Fermé regulations that they will here, and that is key. You will stop tonight. The cars will be taken away straight away then. There will be no refueling. You will not be, there'll be no fettling rather. You will not be allowed to do any work on the car, and the cars will be put into Parc Fermé, and then basically you'll be given a time before race restart on Saturday, tomorrow, to get the car ready to run, and the only thing you'll be allowed to do is that. No repairs are allowed, and then the remaining 9 hours of the race. I think it's a cracking idea.
Well, Christian Frankenhout will not be coming in this time around. He started another lap, still waiting for the sister car, number 1, to leave the refueling. So that gives you an idea. They were running a couple of seconds apart before Maxi Boek brought the number 1 Mercedes into the pit lane, through the pit lane and down to refueling.
And he's still there, but the 75 car, which came in with a broken rear wing, the one of the many 1 Series cars, they just can't, because it's where it's sheared off, they obviously can't actually replace the mount. So it's now going out without a rear wing. So that means that car is going to have probably 100 pounds or so of downforce less in the rear, which should make it very lively as a rear-wheel drive car.
Saying that, Nick. Right, just to let you know, the gap between the leading number 2 and second place number 33, that's Christian Frankenhout's SLS from Hofer Motorsport to Renger van der Zande's car collection one, is 39 seconds. Jeroen Mol now past Frederick Lester up in the 86 entry a short while ago, up into 7th place. That has now become 6th place. So he's closing in now on Jeremy Raymond, who's 2nd in the SP2 class, running in 5th overall in the red GC Automobiles entry. And Jan Joris Verheul, Yeye Verheul, still running in the lead of that class, 4th place overall, number 90, the Renault Megane Trophy.
Nick, did we ever find out what happened to the number 9 Ferrari, Yussi Pescelik?
Yes, because we're about to. He's about to come in the pits.
Ah, excellent.
Did you know that? Because that's almost sort of psychic levels. He didn't come in before after losing a couple of laps.
It's that thing that I have about trying to remember to pay off stories, and if I can't remember it, I tend to think we probably haven't told the listener.
So Peter Cox is waiting to get in the car. The only problem is, as we know, Mr. Peresnek speaks German and not English. So I'm not sure how we're going to find out exactly what happened.
Can you not grab the ongoing driver?
His helmet is Peter Cox. His helmet's on already. Okay. I'll give it a go. You know me, I'll give it a go. But yes, so he's getting full service. It's going to be tyres as the 17 lime green and white Porsche is pushed out into the NCP area of the pit lane, and he's going to get in the way. Now they've managed to not completely cock it up, and in comes the Ferrari that looks a little bit gravel rashed. Oh, I'm surprised. That's got grass on it. He's put a lot of grass on that thing as well. So wherever he went off on a grassy bit, not on a. Now there's so much grass in the front there that I would have thought he'd be having overheating issues, but it might be it's a relatively cool day, so it's not too bad. The whole of the front left was absolutely stacked with grass.
Nick, I'm guessing that he went off somewhere between Mastersport and turn 9. I think that's where he went off, because he was still in the first, might have been before that, he was still in the first sector, but we couldn't see him.
Yeah, and you're not likely to go go off on the straight down from turn 10, or if you do, when you come back into our site, you'll do it by spilling into the Hans Ernstbach, the chicane that are turns 11 and 12. So yes, I think good call, John.
In fairness, the car's undamaged. It's had a bit of a scuffing and it's got some grass, but he's obviously gone off in a way where he's not actually hit anything once he's been off. Whereas the mystery is why it took him 3 laps to get back.
Just waiting to get recovered is probably the answer to that. Well, no, bit of outside assistance required.
What I'm saying is, oh yeah, there is some gravel as well. So he did gravel and grass. So he probably was.
He's got the full set.
He was obviously stranded, dons the gravel.
Right, we've had a driver change in number 1, which Matsi Buk started the race in and was running a very, very strong second. That's been taken over by Roland Eggeman, and he's down in 15th place. And he's come out just behind Alex Van Toff, who had a much earlier pit stop in the number 5 Corvette. Still leading the way is Christian Frankenhout, sitting on a lead of 40-odd seconds over number 33 and going around through Hugenhelsbach for another lap. The race-leading number 2 Mercedes SLS AMG way out front, 40 seconds clear from the number 33, the Martini Racing liveried version with Renger van der Zande, luckily now with both of the Galbing doors down fixed in position.
So where are we? We've got 11 minutes into this second hour. The sun beginning to drop down, but at this time of the year we will be going not even into the gloaming at this point, although we've got a little bit of cloud at the moment as the Lamborghini goes past me.
The wind's picked up and the temperature's dropped. Take it from me, I'm out here.
Yeah. Temperatures, the wind has turned around 180 degrees from this morning. It's now coming off the water. So the onshore breeze in the afternoon, which is exactly what you would expect.
It wasn't just since this morning. At the start of the race, it was blowing in the other direction. Not as strongly as it is now, though. And, of course, we have the strange sight, John, as we look down the row of flags of all the drivers being represented here, the Papua New Guinea flag, which is here because of Keith Kasulke, who's driving one of the Mark Racing Focus V8s from Australia. Mark Cars, he's driving the number 91 entry, but the sister car of 93 is doing incredibly well. We're the 9th overall, running 4th in SP2. And don't forget, the Bathurst 12 Hours as out of the lead of one of the classes. 76 comes in. That's the SP3 class leader, Sander Van Es, bringing that in from 9th place, the Nissan 370Z. So yes, very busy time in the pits for you, Nick.
Yeah, we've also had the 88 GC automobile car come in. That doesn't seem quite screwed together in a couple of places. It's got a few things hanging off it. Right in front of me is one of the myriad and plethora of SLS. It's the number 2 car. So the number 2 car, our leaders coming, and they are doing a driver change. So this is all part of their how do you get 5 drivers to run 2 cars for 12 hours in 2 stages. So the driver change has been made. So it's I'm trying to see who's getting in. I should have redone because that's the important thing, who got in. I think it's
well, by process of elimination, that's the number 2 car. So we know it's not Christian Frankenhout. It won't be Maxi Boo. Roland Eggerman's out in the other, which leaves us Kenneth Heyer and Michael Kroll. So it's one of those 2.
So Christian Frankenhout has got out the car, hasn't he?
Yeah. And number 33 is in the pits as well. They've opened the door. That's the other. No, the same door is open during the run.
So that's Brenda Van Der Zande getting out. At least if I can go well with Christian. Christian, that was a very tense first hour and 20 minutes, and just basically battling with your teammate.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Just a very tense hour, and you're just battling with your teammate.
Yeah, a little bit. It was not really a battle. We just said, okay, just drive behind each other with vicious traffic. It's very difficult to stay between. And then I lost 5 seconds, then he won 5 seconds, and so, but it was okay. Still 1-2 when he became into the pits now, and now the gambling starts with how much laps can the others do, etc. So, but I think we're doing a quite good job now. I hope we can keep this pace, and yeah, take it home tonight and then tomorrow.
So you just got out of car 2. Is the next car you get into car 1, or do you get back into car 2, or do you actually not know yet?
No, now I get into car 1 after this one.
Okay. Thanks, Richard. Cheers. So that's our leader, who may not be. I think he probably would have got fuel. So by the time he emerges in the fuel, so he won't be our leader anymore. It'll be car 1 again, or someone who's not stopped.
I'll tell you what, though, 41 laps makes you. When the Corvette came in, they've either got a tiny fuel tank, which we know they haven't, or they're playing tactics.
Yeah, well, they were the only ones that seemed to roll that dice, and it does seem to have worked for them pretty well so far. Less time, obviously, at the pumps, but Alex van 't Hoff is up to 11th place. Still quite a few drivers ahead of him who haven't pitted, but more interesting was that number 1 Mercedes is 3 places behind him, and that was way ahead of him on the track.
Just sorry to cut across you, Bruce, but
No, do.
just grabbed a Ringer van. Ringer, interesting situation there with the door.
Once again, sorry?
Interesting situation with the door.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a bit promotion for Mercedes, I guess. You know, we have open doors which look like going. No, it was really shit actually, because I was getting in the groove and it was all fine, and suddenly the door went open. So I don't know why. And actually, I heard it's not possible to close them again. But I just made a big move on the steering wheel, and that's how I got down the door, and I could grab it. So I think it cost me a lot of time. I had to let past the Lamborghini again. But at the end, we got it closed, and I could start pushing again. I must say it was a good race until there. Good start from 6 to 4 or something. Took the Lamborghini into turn 2, and after that it was just cruising around the traffic. I mean, it's really, really, really dangerous with the traffic because of all the flowing corners, and I don't think you should take any risk. I think everybody who is taking the risk here in the beginning of the race is not doing so smart. So I took it easy and hand it over to Christian now. I hope he can do a good job.
And as far as you know, the issue with the door is finished. It was a one-off. It's latched down properly.
I hope so. I mean, they closed it now on the pit stop, and it was closed. So I guess so. We'll check it over again. But I couldn't really speak well on the radio to tell them to check it out again. But I think it should be fine.
Thank you very much.
Vinger van der Zande with Nick Damon in the pit lane. 5:15 is Elmer Grimm that leads. No stop yet for the number 3 Car Collection Motorsport Mercedes-Benz. They're getting great fuel mileage out of the Big Benz and has a 10.5 second lead on the SP2. Jan Joris Verheul in second place. The number 90, which is having a great run at the moment. The last Moras Racing Renault Megane. Jan Joris drafted into that team to sub for Duncan Heisman in that car.
It'd be worth Nick, that'll be his next challenge, to go when Jan Joris gets out of the car, because that did lose the lead of SP2 to 88, but seemingly got it back very quickly. I don't know if there was an issue. I don't think we saw it in the pits, but just driving beneath our commentary box, looking absolutely fabulous as it goes through Hugenholz's box. So, Nick, that's your next challenge when 90 Jan Joris Verheul comes in for his pit stop sometime, but maybe not immediately soon.
Well,
I think that car could lead. That car could lead. I think you'll see the 3 car come in before that, and we'll see an SP2 car lead, and we might yet... No, they're a lap back. Jeroen Meul in the A6 has done his... but that was an...
There's a quick update for you. The number 2 car has just emerged from the fuel station. That fuel station is quite slow.
Yes, well, we've seen that. That's Kenneth Heyer, but you see he's listed as 5th on the timesheets, and the sister car, number 1, is down in 12th. But of course, that will close up over the course of this lap as the screen adjusted. But I think this will be the one and only time we'll see the SP2 car lead this race. It's because they can have their first fuel stop while everyone else has done theirs at the front end. But very, very well driven, the Renault Megane trophy for JJ Verheul.
Martin Byford is, in fact, the A2 battle is on the top screen, which now goes down to position 26. So leaders, we've got Elmer Grimm leading the race and GT3, the A6 category, and the number 3 Mercedes-Benz. Then the Megane, the number 90 Las Moras racing car, Jan Joris Verheul in second place. Other leaders on the top screen, Christian Dick now leads SP3 in the 105. Now, has he stopped yet? No, he hasn't, and that's why he's leading, because the other SP3 contenders have... Oh, no, they haven't.
Yeah, no, what happened? We just had the Nissan come out of the lead. That just pitted on the last lap, which was Sander Van Aers.
Yes.
And but he was hunting him, he was running within a dozen seconds of him, so a very good run for that entry there. Christian Dick in the Ginetta, the little Ginetta.
Speedworks car. And who else have we got as a class leader? We've got Jeroen Den Boer in the 82 car, the A5 leader in 11th position. Harry Hildish, we've mentioned that earlier on, the 41 and 42 cars. Harry Hildish and Martin van der Berg. They are 4 seconds apart now. In fact, has that changed round? Harry Hildish was in second before, wasn't he? He's actually gone by Martin van der Berg, taking the lead. Johan van Loo is leading D1 in the 72. That is the Recce Racing Team BMW. Casper Jensen in the 47. A2, which is the DK Racing Renault Clio RS, with Martin Byford just 2.5 seconds behind him now. No, that's not quite right. What's happened there? They've just been passed by someone else. 5.5 seconds behind him, Martin Byford at the moment.
For the first 45 minutes of this race, we had 1 and 2 fighting over the lead. They're now almost nose to tail, with Roland Eggerman holding down 9th place, having just passed number 2 of Kenneth Heyer, who just come out of the pits.
Swapped round after they've had their pit stop.
But Eggerman, go on, Nick.
To my left, I had the 93, one of the many 5-litre Ford Focus body machines, and that you can hear it revving away there, rocking as it is on its jacks. And they're about to do a driver change. A more portly driver is getting in than got out, so that's him carrying a slight weight penalty in this particular stint. We've just seen the 89 car, one of the GC machines, come in and go out. I think he did a driver change, no tyres, but has gone off to get some fuel. There's been a tyre change here in this 93. And it says there's a lot of people expectantly looking at the pit lane waiting for their man, and here indeed comes the number 3 from the lead, I believe.
Yes.
And that is the beer-sponsored say SLS. Door open. Are they changing drivers or not? Yeah, they're changing tyres. The poor old drivers. That was a very yanked-out driver. Who's driving in the 3 at the moment?
Elmer Grimm has just got out.
Elmer had a grim time getting out because basically he's a very tall man trying to fold himself into the Mercedes SLS, and he's doing the walk
He's limping.
of a slightly older man who's been bent double for slightly too long. He's very tall. He's a good 6'4". He's sort of your sort of size.
So the Renault Megane leads. Jan-Joris Verheul leads SP2 and the motor race after 1 hour and 23 minutes and still no pit stop.
Well, that will come. But I just want to point out something, just talking about the cars that were leading the race early on, numbers 1 and 2. Number 1 made its pit stop about 8.5-9 minutes before number 2. So let's see how that progresses through the course.
Grabbing a quick word here with Elmer Grimm. Elmer, you seem to be in a little bit stiff and in some sort of, you seem to be some sort of a bit of pain and discomfort. Was it very hard work in the car?
I have a little understeuern, you understand, and that is not so good. I think we have something back on the front, yeah, and I hope it's better in the next turn.
You come in quite a bit later than the other Mercedes SLSs. Is that because your car has better fuel consumption, or you just decided to have the tank more empty when you came in?
We have Motoreinstellung, die nicht so viel Sprit braucht. So, you understand? The engine needs not so much spirit. And so we can go two rounds more than the others.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and have a nice stretch. He's more than 6'4", he's about 6'6". So I think what he's saying basically is the engine's running a leaner map.
Correct, and he's also complaining about understeer early on. I think we probably got that as well. I think that's very interesting that the guys are playing around with the mapping and basically saying, let's, we had these discussions about declared times, didn't we, at Dubai a few years ago, that people got themselves very excised about oh, that's not proper racing. But effectively you run into fuel numbers or time. It doesn't make any difference, and if you run a bit slower you're going to save
the 90's
fuel.
in the pits.
Say again, Nick?
The 90's in the pits, so I'm not sure whether he actually led a lap or not.
Yes, he has been scored as leader.
Now there's a tyre. The tyres have been changed. I'm not 100% sure there's a driver change. I'll be really honest. I need to look in. Is it Van der Ver who was driving it?
Jan-Joris Verheul. And he did score leading a lap.
I think there's a man at the back who may well be Jan-Joris Verheul.
Well, we do need to hear from him, Nick, because we think he had that problem that lost him the class lead.
Well, and if that is the case, then when we update, we should have the Lamborghini leading. And if that's the case, they've been out 22 minutes now. So they're clearly pitted at exactly the right time. What we don't know is how long they stayed in the pit lane. I can't see that on this screen, although if I dare fire up more on my computer, I probably daren't at the moment. But it seems as though the number 10 car, the Leipert Motorsport Lamborghini, with still Jeroen Mul at the wheel has pulled a tactical blinder. Nick Damon.
It's down. I just come
What
out
a
there.
map for.
Yeah, Jan Joris for who? Jan, fantastic. You actually led a lap of the whole race there. You must be delighted with the way the car's going.
The car's great. I didn't even know we were leading, but the car feels awesome. The tires held up well. So now Jurk is going, and I think he's a good driver, so I think he can maintain the same pace. So we're up there, and we're doing okay. We're fine.
Was it a completely clear run? I think at one point you lost the lead. Was there a slight problem?
I had maybe 2 or 3 times, problems with the rear. So I adjusted the brake balance, and then it was okay. But you know, you have to adjust to the track and the car and the tires and stuff. But eventually it worked, and I got in a rhythm again, and we did okay.
But okay, well done. Thank you very much indeed.
Problem for number 96, Clint Bardwell, is being towed in. That's the 5-litre Saxon Motorsport
fan favourite,
BMW, the 150. We've heard that's the engine from you reckon the previous generation of BMW M5, 5-litre V10.
Yeah, and petrol, not diesel, as I think I might have said earlier on. I might have thrown everybody a bit of a curveball on that one.
And that was down towards about 20th position, is now dropping to almost to the second screen. Martin Byford should pass that, probably has in fact, over the course of this lap.
Martin Byford still in second position in A2 in the 57, the Honda. Just trying to find out where his class leader's got to. Where's the A2 class leader? Oh, there is Casper. He's up in 23rd position and is all of a sudden got a bit of a gap. So let's see if we can pick up the leader of the motor race. That is the Lamborghini, the Lippert Lamborghini with Jeroen Moll, who's kind of done a stint and a half, really, hasn't he? Because he pitted almost exactly on, or just after the hour, and he's been in another 25 minutes. No, it was on the hour, wasn't it? The stint length is when he comes out of the fuel stop, not when he goes through the pit lane.
Yeah,
so.
well, he would have saved the time from not having the driver change. He's had the refueling stop. The V8 Racing Corvette is up into second place overall, but that pitted a lot earlier, another 10 minutes earlier. That was the first really of the front running group. It had been running 5th on the circuit, didn't have the answer to the Lamborghini or the 3 Mercedes ahead of it, but the team are very, very pro that car, and we've watched Corvettes in endurance racing forever.
I'm wondering about both the Corvette and the Lamborghini stops, in that whether they stopped at the first point in which the maximum amount of fuel they're allowed to have on a refill would fill them up.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Because that seems to be played out quite well. And
the key thing as well, Nick, about the Lamborghini is that was just on an hour. So if they do that again, right, and that means they will be full again with a standard fill when they restart tomorrow. I think this is smart. I think it's really smart.
And and it is a slow fill situation, so queuing will be a nightmare, and even trying to do it as little as possible. But it's interesting. The 105, the Ginetti's in front of me. I don't know how well he's doing.
Was leading the class.
So that's come in. One thing I've noticed, and I've just noticed it, is there a difference? Is one of the decisions about what class you go into, whether you have a 5-nut hub or a single nut hub? And the 5-nut hub's a massive disadvantage. In time of hits. So when we actually get our car, put our championship together, John and Bruce, 2 things I've noticed we need already. We need a car seat that goes back as far as possible so we don't get the cramp issues for Bruce, and we need to have a single racing wheel, single nut wheel.
Right, okay.
And the 96 has come to a halt in front of me, the 5-litre BMW, and the 44 is drifting hardly under its own power.
That's the zest again.
And that has been in the wars, actually. And the rear bumper section is detached, and it's going to need. But he can't get into his pit because he's blocked by the rescue wagon. So he's on his own power. He's got a problem with the front. I think he's had a kind of a side swipe of something at some point that has deranged several parts of the bodywork, and they're going to need to go and do a slightly more comprehensive duct tape and tyre wraps, as the Saxon 96 BMW is wheeled back into the garage for examining a detailed post-mortem. What the problem is, it is not leaking anything, it is showing no signs of damage, so something has gone ping behind it.
Another half an hour racing has just gone, just on 5:30 here in Central Europe. The leader, Jeroen Moll, has completed 49 laps and is at the moment the only car, I believe, on the lead lap. Well, I need to wait for Alex van der Hoff come through in the Corvette, but I'm pretty certain that Jeroen Mul has pulled a blinder here, and the rest of the team. And the difference now is more than a lap. It's 2 minutes 19.4 seconds between first and second. Up into third now, the 33 Car Collection Motorsport Mercedes-Benz. This is all down to how much time they spent fueling. This is why this is all switched around. And it's Christian Brack, in the 33 now in third position, but has got right behind him Kenneth Heyer in the number 2, the Hofer Racing, the car that led all of that first stint. But Kenneth has got ahead of Roland Eggerman, who had changed over at the pit stop, and as they go down to Tarzan, then the battle for third position is joined, and in they go, the 2 Mercedes-Benz, but there's a couple of 3 cars lengths between them, but they are embroiled in traffic, Bruce.
Well, I expected Kenneth Heyer. We'd seen number 2 leading quite comfortably against its sister car. I expected him to go past the 33, but we know the 33 has pace, and into Tarzan, Christian Brack in 33 stayed ahead. Kenneth Heyer braked very late, but there wasn't the space, and 33 has made a mistake behind. There's a course vehicle on the edge of the circuit at Hunsrück. We waved yellow flags. Can't see the problem in the dip at Rob Slotemacherbach, but clearly number 33's driver Christian Brack saw that waved yellow flag and backed off. I thought he just missed a gear, but no, good driving there from Christian Brack, holding down third place, but Kenneth Heyer in number 2 right on his tail.
And they're going to have traffic for the rest of the lap now. This is the battle for third place. We're talking about 33, the Car Collection Motorsports team, and Kenneth Heyer in the Hofer Motorsport Mercedes-Benz, Hofer Racing, Mercedes-Benz. Now, where are they? They're about to come through the chicane, are they? Yes, they are. Let me just get myself so that I can see them in the braking area. Got the edge of our commentary box. And here they come. You can see the 2 Benzes rattling down, and they are still 33 and 2. Oh, and it looked to me as though Kenneth Heyer just went across the curb on the first part of the chicane there, but he's got away with it. Came in a tad too quickly. It hasn't really disadvantaged him at all. He takes a much wider line through the penultimate corner, and now down towards Arie Luijendijk. Wait to see the headlights of the 2 Benz coming back towards us, and here they are with Renault Clio and Peugeot ahead of them, and the third place car, the Martini Stripe car, goes down the inside into Tarzan and deals with it.
He does, but the Peugeot 208 ahead of them had nowhere to go. He had to start turning right to get round Tarzan, so 33 had to put extra retardation. But the gap is staying the same, but certainly Kenneth Heyer in number 2 is pushing him very hard indeed.
This is good news for Roland Eggerman, because in 5th position, he's the next guy down the road. Now, he's 16 seconds back at the moment, but those 2 guys aren't now pulling away from him. They're all in the 1:49.3, 5 and 8 for those guys. The Alex van der Hoff number 5 Corvette, a 47.8 last time around, and the leader, Jeroen Mul, no tyre change, remember, on that Lamborghini, a 49.6 last time around, and he is into a stint and 30 minutes on that car, a stint and 41 minutes for Alex van der Hoff. Remember, the V8 Racing Corvette stopped early.
Well, we talked about the risks that drivers could take, but they are really all immersed in traffic. Another lap from the race leader, Jeroen Mul, completing 51 laps now. He was lapping in 1 minute 50. We saw the very fastest race laps were about 1 minute 43.
Yeah.
Lots of people running for a long time in the 44s, but of course they're all now chock heavy with fuel.
Peter Cox did a 44.6 last time around in the Ferrari, but is already 4 laps off the leader, or the better part thereof, after the issues for his teammate earlier on when that car was solidly in the top 10.
One car that's running in the top 10, we haven't talked about much all race, but hasn't pitted, is leading A5 class, is Jeroen den Boer, which was one of my favourite cars in the race. BMW, because it was just so well driven through practice yesterday. Just never seemed to put a wheel out of line. And run it. Nick?
Yeah, sorry, just cut because BMW well driven. This is number 39 has been dragged back on the back of the tow track for the second time, and the number 7 SLS, with the car which obviously had a stop earlier, unscheduled for the visit to gravel with Nigel, has come in as well. Also the 34 BMW has come in, and the 44 has turned round. The 92 5-litre Focus is in and up on its jack, and the 21 Porsche is there. So the stragglers on the whole, or who are still only making their first stop, some of these, after an hour and 35, which is pretty good economy on any standards.
And Martin Byford still less than 5 seconds away from the class leading.
Has he stopped?
No, neither of those two have stopped yet. Casper Jensen in the 47, Renault, Martin Byford in the 57. That's an hour and 36 minutes for those guys, and still going. The leading car that hasn't stopped, as Bruce has said, is the BMW 82. Then we've got Vincent Rademacher, who's been in the Peugeot 208 GTI since the start. We've got Bernd Kuiper in the 28 A5. Now, that's a number I haven't mentioned before. That's the Hofer Kuiper Racing M3. That's the straight 6, isn't it?
It is. It's the bright blue and bright green entry, but we've seen it race before, and it does just run and run. It hasn't been setting startling lap times, but it's doing the job and running in 10th place at the moment. Gap between first and second, 2 minutes 11, so Alex van der Hoff is slightly chipping away. But again, I think that's traffic. There have been a couple of slow laps from Jeroen. He has no need to take big risks. And certainly Renger van der Zande said to you, Nick, that taking risks is not a game for the intelligent driver here at Zandvoort.
No, I agree. I agree with that. Now, next piece, as in comes the 205.
That's the other one.
That's Guillaume Romain. Roman, actually.
But Rademacher is driving both of those cars. He probably won't drive this one today. The 205, he's done his stint in 208, coming to an end very soon. 1 hour and 37 minutes so far.
But not leading the A5 category. That is still that old BMW, Old Faithful, just going round. Next, just to flag up the next tactical point, and something we'll be doing at Mobile One Radio Le Mans on 91.2 FM. We will have Trustwell's tactical ticker, where we'll be flagging up what we expect to see. It's when the next pit stops are taken, because it's crucial now to decide what you're going to do. Are you going to run long and try and get track position before the restart? And one presumes, of course, what's going to happen is it'll be an aggregate, won't it, when the restart tomorrow? So we're going to have to try and keep track of that. Oh joy, it'll be like the Nürburgring. Can you believe, after all of what we've been talking about, that's the first time I've realised that.
Thank goodness you packed your slide rule.
Yeah. You need to get a pocket Trustwell thrown over.
A 59.8 by Martin Byford, and all of a sudden he is pushing on. Under 2 minutes for an A2 car is very good indeed. And, of course, he's coming to the end of his fuel now, but he's got Casper Jensen's still just ahead of him.
Word of warning, car 89, it's the white GC Automotive, is starting to smoke. We've seen that at many circuits.
That's just gone back out of the pit.
Just refueling. Oh, yes, you're right.
There was an observation stop. It came in, they waggled some stuff and sent it on its way, doing nothing to it. Its sister car has also got the same sort of looseness look around its backside as well with the bodywork. So I'm not sure that's just the way it's designed, but they both have been observed on a number of occasions by the pit crew and then waved off.
Well, the sister car, number 88, is listed as, sorry, I'm just trying to look at the screen there, it's running in 7th place. 7th place. So, very good indeed. But it's the slower of the two GC Automotive cars, but it didn't have that spin on the opening lap that the sister car had, and then lost a lot of time. Number one back into the pits. That can't be. Second pit stop for number one, just got up into 5th place, Nick. What's the problem?
For it. They're putting the tyres in. I'm trying to see whether they're going to have a driver change.
No sign of the driver change.
No, it's a tyre stop, so they didn't obviously change tyres. The two car did change tyres, the one car didn't. We are now at an hour and 40, so we are on 100 minutes, just over quite 2/3, about 60% of the way through. This is really interesting. I wonder why they've done that. They are literally clean. They have cleaned it, they've changed tyres, and they have sent it. So whether it was...
Do you think it was a puncture?
I don't know. The question now is, does it go for fuel? And the answer is no. And the answer is no. That must have been a problem. It must have been a puncture of some sort.
Okay, so bear in mind, Nick, Roland Eggerman was in 5th place at the time.
So they are doing the big steering on one of the tyres. So yeah, that must be a slow puncture. So they've got a tyre issue.
Well, that suddenly made the races rather stronger for the number 10 Lamborghini in the lead, and Alex van 't Hoff in the V8 Racing Corvette, which is just coming past our commentary position, looking over Guggenholzbocht, and not far behind that is number 3, but that's some distance down now, with Gustav Edelhoff, who took over the number 3 entry that was leading the race, but was the last of the front runners to come in to pit, last of the A6 class cars. was the red, black and white number 3 beer-sponsored Mercedes SLS, and that's down in 10th overall now.
Well, this has been a brilliant bit of tactics by the Lamborghini team. Seeing the Lightfoot Motorsport number 10 grab the lead from the, I think Nick called them a phalanx of Mercedes-Benz. And I'll be honest, I was watching that and thinking, oh, that's going to update in a minute and he'll fall back down the square. They must have just spent so much less time in the fuel.
And Peter Cox continues to lap far faster than anybody else. In fact, as I say that, Kenneth Heyer in number 2 actually does a 1 minute 44. That's the fastest lap we've seen for some while. He's running in the 3rd place, 17 seconds down on the V8 Racing Corvette in that battle for 2nd place. Just looking down in the pit lane, we have a white BMW down the far end. Is that number 38? Yes, again, Nick? I can't quite see. It's down.
It has been in and out about 11 times.
Oh, it's 39. Sorry, 39, the Blendini Racing. And you've got number 47. He was leading his class ahead of Casper Jensen, who's come out of the lead of A2, making his pit stop. He's blinked first, and behind him, Martin Byford. I wonder how many more laps he'll do before he brings the Synchro Motorsport Honda in from now having taken the lead in that class.
It's a completely different equation for these cars that are doing an hour and 40 minutes, isn't it? Because you don't want to make an extra pit stop.
And here comes the 42 as well, so we're getting a lot of these smaller touring car stroke one make series machines are now coming in with these absolutely massive durations they can get on their tanks of petrol, which is really very, very impressive.
Yeah, if I can just finish the point, the touring car type cars, they run an hour and obviously getting on towards an hour and 45, an hour and 50 minutes at the moment. There's a different technical decision to be made here, Bruce, because do you take it right to the end and then finish today, with a half a stint effectively?
Yeah, I mean, having this break, it's definitely, I think a lot of people will reappraise why they started with the fuel loads they started with when we get to tonight's break. One thing if we were just going to a straight 12-hour race, but a lot of teams, particularly if they're new to racing at Zandvoort, new to these Enduros, they would have just had a guess and maybe not thought about it too much. But as Nick found out on the grid, some teams really were thinking about how much fuel they wanted to start with tomorrow. And I'm just looking at the lap times. Now Jeroen Mol in the race-leading Lamborghini is starting to lap faster again. Maybe he does have the pace, but it does look as though it's going to be right towards the end of this 3-hour sector. We have an hour and 16 minutes remaining. I can't yet read this race because I think the ramifications, we won't know tonight. The ramifications will be clear when they have their first fuel stops tomorrow, and then we'll see who's being clever.
Yeah, and sorry, Nick, go ahead.
No, sorry, I was just saying that an interesting aside there from the Hankook man who was looking at the tyres of the number 1 car. He looked at me and said, "There's nothing wrong."
Oh, spirit in the cab.
So that's then he added to it that I can see. But he was, and I saw them measuring them. And he was looking them around, and the numbers I saw on the pressure gauge all seemed consistent, and nothing was down. Put it that way. As the 47's only just left from its pit, a very, very slow tyre change and driver change there for the leader in that group, and the 28 and the 82 I think was another one we haven't seen is doing well, isn't it? The 82. Car, 6th overall. That's the BMW is also coming for its stopping tyres as well. So we're going to see. We will see in a couple of minutes all the GT3 machines at the front, but we've got one GT machine with a psychological problem, not a mechanical one.
Yeah, well, effectively, this comes as no surprise. The last cars that are going to pit are the diesel class cars, and we have Johan van Loo in number 72 leading that overall in 14th place at the moment, which is the multicoloured red, yellow, green and blue racing car down from Belgium, and he's just going past us again here one more time as he sets off on his 53rd lap, but 57 laps covered so far from Jeroen Mul, leading in the number 10 Lamborghini, leading by, it's always between 2 minutes 10 and 2 minutes 20. That really hasn't changed the gap to Alex van 't Hoff, who just completes another lap, loses a second or so. Kenneth Heyer is closing in that battle for second place in the number 2 Mercedes. Was about 15 seconds down last time around. I look up and he completes another lap, and it's now down to 12 seconds. So Kenneth Heyer closing in that battle for second place.
Yeah, slowly but surely. And it is the ebb and flow, though. He hasn't, as you rightly said, been able to blast through. Where's the number 1 car gone? Roland Eggerman has...
well, he dropped down because he had that extra pit stop just now. Yes. But Peter Cox, meanwhile, was running about 16th. He's suddenly up into 7th place, still lapping faster than anybody else at the moment, or all bar Kenneth Heyer in the number 2. So watch out for Peter Cox. But he is several laps down. He's 2.5 laps down on the race-leading Lamborghini, but certainly Cox is the jewel in that Praha Racing Ferrari. He took over from Jiri Pasarek, who'd had the problem, as you saw, Nick. He was bringing grass, gravel and all other things in besides to the pits, and that was where the damage was done. But Peter Cox, a very, very strong drive, as you would expect in the lone Ferrari.
Now, worryingly, the 89 car, the GC Automotive car we've talked about, I think you saw going slowly, has been sent back out on the racetrack again with the whole of the rear bodywork deranged at starting. So the rear bodywork is at least 6 inches higher on the left-hand side than it is on the right-hand side. And therefore it's bound to rub on something, and it can't be working aerodynamically. And you kind of think, well, why have you sent your car in such a poor condition? But that's for them to decide. We're about to see the Byford car coming any minute now. They're waiting. They've only got 2 tyres to offer it, so they're going to do a front tyre change, and not all 4.
And he is leading. He scored as leading the A2 class in that 57. And that is the Synchro Motorsport Honda that he shares with Alan James and Stephen Ritchie. So an Englishman, a Welshman and a Scotsman. Not the start of a joke, but leading a class.
Way to go. Black car coming out of the final corner, coming into the pits. That is the Synchro Motorsport Honda. Martin Byford having risen all the way up as he comes into the pits. 16th place he was overall. Gap between Alex van 't Hoff in the V8 Racing Corvette, which is second, and Kenneth Heyer in the number 2 Mercedes, now down to just below 9 seconds. So three and a bit seconds gained on 1 lap alone. Only a few more laps. Judicious use of the traffic, and I think the number 2 Mercedes that led the early part of this race will be back into second place. So class leaders, A6 class, that's Jeroen Mul, race leader overall in the Lamborghini, number 10. SP2 class, that's 5th place. Jorg Wiebahn has taken over the Renault Megane trophy that was driven so well by Jan Joris Verheul. 5th overall, very, very impressive. Of course, there is the cycling. We expect some of the A6 cars, Peter Cox most notably in the Ferrari, to get ahead of him fairly soon. But both Jorg Wiebahn in the SP2 class leader in 5th and Lionel Amrouche in the red 88 GC Automobiles entry, running very well, 5th and 6th in SP2. Then down, the next class leader is Niels Buijs in number 6, who's leading SP3, and that is the Nissan 370Z. D1, Johan van Loo, number 72, the Racy Racing, but he has yet to pit, so that's the advantage in the D1 class. And also the A2 class leader, Jakob Christensen, he has yet to come in. They will go down the order, but they are leading their classes.
The Synchro car in front of me doing its pit stop, it's not quite as clean as you would expect. There has been some contact in front of the car. And in fact,
Mark got out of that.
He has, he's got his helmet on. I'll chat in a second.
All right. I think Bradley's listening down at Le Mans, if I'm honest.
He's cracked the front of it, and they were actually drilling extra holes in the valance to get a bit more air through, because it appears to have been blocked slightly. And then we had a big slab of tank tape come on, duct tape, to just attach the front a bit better. So, and now they're doing a download. So what looked like quite a simple stop, which should have been quite short because they only did 2 tyre changes rather than 4, is being extended out. So everything is not moving as smoothly as we would have thought. And Martin now made a terrible mistake of taking his helmet off. So I'll tap on the shoulder. Martin, everything looked very simple out there. You were having a good battle. You're in second. The car's come in, though. It seems you have a few little minor problems.
Yeah, we're overheating a little bit. We're up over 100 degrees, so we're lacking a little bit of power at the moment. So guys are just dragging the data out, trying to figure out what's going on. Other than that, the car was very good. Yeah, pretty consistent.
A bit of damage on the front. Did you nerve someone, or did you get someone come across you?
Close a couple of times, but I didn't think we actually touched anybody. But yeah.
I mean, it must be quite crazy out there. You're obviously being overtaken more than you're overtaking, but it's a narrow, twisty track. I mean, how is the traffic?
No, it's not too bad actually. Everyone's being quite good and giving each other plenty of room, really. You just have to be very, very mindful of what's going on in your mirrors. And other than that, it's all right. The GT guys, they kind of stick their nose in sometimes, but you've seen them coming, so it's not too bad actually.
Martin, thanks very much. So that car now has gone off. They've downloaded it. They've drilled a few holes in the front of the car, and hopefully they'll get some cooling. And the temperature is dropping at the moment, but they have to work out what they're going to do for tomorrow, when it's going to be warmer during the middle of the day, of course, hopefully.
Okay, one factor I've just spotted is that the number 1 Mercedes in 9th place is lapping in the 2 minutes and 4, and that was on a flying lap. That is, he should be in the 1 minute 45s, the 147s, but trying to pick out where it is on the circuit. And race leader, for example, Jeroen Mul in the number 10 Lamborghini lapping in the 1 minute 47s. Peter Cox in the 1 minute 44s as he charges. Still in 7th place, he's got the 2 SP2 cars, 90 and 88 ahead of him, but he is the fastest driver out on the circuit at the moment, along with Kenneth Haar in number 2, who's closing in. He's only 1.3 seconds down on 2nd place, Alex van der Hoff's V8 Racing Corvette. So that should change this time around. This lap we should have number 2 going back into 2nd place, and of course that led the race early on. But Jeroen Mul and V8 Racing, they both used a different tactic as to when to make their fuel stops. They made it much, much earlier. They got the clean run to the pumps and they've come out ahead. But we think this one is going to take several fuel stops with the break of overnight to sort out the true pace of the cars.
I think you can't afford to leave yourself with no fuel tomorrow. So parc fermé is absolute. You can't even put fuel in the car.
No, it's obligatory to go and eat well and drink and sleep well.
Oh, okay then. I think we
could do that, shall we?
You're listening to Radio Le Mans. We're live at RadioLeMans.com. We're live at Zandvoort. The rest of the crew have a ride at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Just thought I'd give you an update on that. Hello to the crew down there who are in the booth in the press room getting set for Sunday's test. If we can, we'll cross across to them tomorrow during the race. Just get a bit of the atmosphere.
Just want to cut across your bows. We had a place change for 2nd, going down into Tarzan, and number 2 with Kenneth Haar. That's the one of the Hofer Racing Mercedes went inside Alex van der Hoff's V8 Racing Corvette. So up into 2nd place goes the Mercedes. Down into 3rd goes the V8 Racing Corvette. Kenneth Haar takes the place.
Now, what is Eric Den Dekker driving? It's an SP3 car, and that is the 21 car. That is the PG Motorsports Porsche 993 Cup class. I've just seen a 154.1 from him, and that's that car's fastest of the race. He's in 4th position, down in 20th overall, 4th in SP3. But that little flash of green on the timing screen just caught my eye at the moment. Heyer now less than a 10th of a second behind Alex van der Hoff.
No, he's ahead. He just pulled that move.
Okay.
Down into Tarzan, and looks he should pull away. In fact, as we see them coming now into the chicane, the gap is huge, because coming out of the chicane is the Corvette, and into the Kumhoboch is the Mercedes SLS. So he's put about 5 seconds on him in the space of 3/4 of a lap. So certainly the pace favours the Mercedes in this race. We saw them dominating the front end of the grid, but the number 1 Mercedes, the sister car that started on the front row as well, it's improving its lap times, but is still running 5 or 6 seconds off the pace. We can't see what the problem is, but Nick might well. They came in with that extra pit stop. They thought there was a puncture, but as you said, Nick, the crews didn't seem to reckon there was anything wrong with the Hankooks.
Well, the time end, there was an issue, so whether there is a slight handling suspension problem, I don't know. But there's no movement in the pits to do anything about it. They're obviously just going to live with it for a bit and see what happens next.
And a lap being put on the number 1, Roland Egeman, by his teammate Kenneth Haar there, as he is pulled out to 5 seconds of a lead over Alex van der Hoff in the Corvette, the number 5 car. So it's Jeroen Mul by just over 2 minutes and 9 seconds now. So it's a lap and a bit, a lap and about 20 seconds. Back to Haar in 2nd and van der Hoff in 3rd. So Lamborghini, Mercedes-Benz and Corvette from 33 Christian Bracker, in the 33. That's another Mercedes-Benz, of course, the fourth place car. Jorg Wiebahn in the number 90 SP2. It's the BMW. Is it?
No, 90 is
90
the Renault Megane Trophy,
Megane Trophy
that Verhoeven was driving. He is the next
funny.
driver in the sights of Peter Cox. Peter Cox in the lone Ferrari from Praha Racing is up into 6th now, but the lap time difference between them is about 4 or 5 seconds a lap, but 45-second gap between. So he'll stay in 5th place for some while. Cox has got past Lionel Amrouche in the red GC Automobiles entry. That's down to 7th, but that's somewhat slower. Still worried about the pace of Roland Eggerman in the number 1 Mercedes. He's lost several laps. He made that extra pit stop for that tyre change. Something clearly amiss with that car. Unless they've decided to run some laps just with a, foot off the throttle, but that's too much of a difference.
Martin Sally Pedersen has not yet stopped. 20th position, 2nd in A2, albeit holding a pit stop or needing a pit stop shortly in the Team Sally Racing, the Renault Clio Sport. And that now then is 1 hour and 56 minutes. And as I say that, of course, that car comes into the pits.
Yeah.
So the next one who hasn't stopped is Ricky Coomber in the 4th place A2. Yeah, in the 49 Honda. That's the Civic R.
So yeah, we had a few of the diesel and small engine stoppers. 72, 71, the multicoloured 120 diesel. We've had another Clio, but it's pretty impressive. Isn't Ricky Coomber one of the guys who does the 360?
Yes.
I recognise that name.
Yeah, he's just gone past. The car looks great with the old Honda racing colours along the sort of kick panel beneath the doors. But yeah, he will be going very close indeed to 2 hours. He's just coming into Gerlach-Bocht as he goes through the early corners of yet another lap. Who's driving fast at the moment? Who's setting really quick laps? Well, it's Peter Cox, as he has been for the past 20 minutes. He's just taken another 7. No, rather less than that. 2 seconds. That was a slower lap from him, but still quicker than anybody else out there. But Kenneth Heyer is running a good pace in 2nd place overall. But Jeroen Mol and that Lamborghini Gallardo have not put a foot wrong. They had that wonderful battle early on with the 33 entry with Renger van der Zande until the door went up, but running on his own now.
And Ricky Coomber is officially the Iron Man of the first part of this race. He is the only driver who has not stopped. 1 hour 58.5 minutes in the books for that number 49 Honda Civic, and it is still the man who started the race. Ricky, stand up and be counted. That is a tremendous run, sitting now in 3rd position in A2, but that is a phenomenal opening drive, and I would think he'd have to be dragged out of that at the end of it. That's a really good run. You're listening to Radio Le Mans.com, live from Zandvoort. In the pits, it's Nick Damon, and Bruce Jones is alongside me. We've got the 3rd and final hour of the opening part of the race, the part of the race that will be today on Friday. The remaining 9 hours are tomorrow. You can hear that on RadioLeMans.com too. But the final hour of today's action comes up next here on RadioLeMans.com. So let's have a quick look at what's going on. Jeroen Mul by 2 minutes and 2 seconds as we head into this evening's session. Billy Grace tweets, what if you pitted on the last lap of this first 3 hours and go straight to the fuel station? Is that allowed? Yes, I guess it is. And then you're going to lose track position, Bruce, but you'll have a full tank. I wonder if we might see a lot of people doing that.
I'm just wondering, because this thing in the rules that says the last lap tonight gets chopped off. Maybe you have to do the penultimate.
Leader in the pits.
Leader in the pits. Jeroen Mul brings number 10 into the pits. Right with you, Nick, eh?
And yes, it's going to be replaced by a man. As I walk up to the very attractive black and gold Gallardo, it's going to be replaced by a man in an orange suit. The interesting thing is that if you do pull the car in the pits to the last lap, do they turn the pumps off at 3 hours, or are you allowed to fill up? Because otherwise you have to come in about 8 minutes beforehand to make sure you've got to fill to start the following day. Now, the point about it is that would work, because you would get 2 or 3 minutes free, wouldn't you, from the lap count back.
Yeah.
So being in there, but there's only 4 people to be able to do that. There's only 4 slots. And it's a full stop here for the leaders. It's tyres and everything else, that they will, I'm sure, go and pick up some more fuel.
I am guessing that the pits will be closed on the lap before the 3 hours. The pumps will be closed.
Yeah, but the thing about that, of course, is as you see, it takes 3 laps to fill them up anyway.
The problem is then, if you did that and the 3 hours is up, they won't fill you. What they'll do is they'll put you back in the queue for the pumps tomorrow when the race restarts. That's the only way that it can possibly be fair.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a problem with the 10 actually. There's a problem getting the driver change done. So I'm not sure it's Maximilian Volker or Michael Goltz who's got in the machine, but they're having a belts issue. This is costing them a lot of time. That car was ready to go some time ago, and they have a simple malfunction of the seatbelt that so far I think cost them 30 seconds as the car fires up, as you can hear.
Now, didn't we have this at Dubai for somebody, Nick?
Yeah.
I seem to remember.
And they have actually, what's happened is they've got a quick release seatbelt system on sort of monkey cords, and it appears that
Bungee cords,
the whole thing got itself tangled in itself, and he couldn't do it up, and he had to get assistance from a driver, a sock puppet man, and a mechanic, and I reckon they lost 45 seconds just with that simple problem on the seatbelt.
Less haste, more speed, sadly.
Yeah, exactly.
It also seems like a really good idea if it goes wrong.
So do we reckon now that Heyer has cycled back to the head of the field? It must be the case. Or he will do when he comes around next time around. And that little stumble by the Lamborghini will cost them dearly.
You know, here's another factor to throw in. Roland Eggerman in number 1 has dropped to 10th place overall. Don't forget, this was the car that Maxi Buch was really challenging for the lead with the system number 2. But all of the drivers in 2 and 1 have to drive both of those cars. Maybe there isn't a problem with number 1. Maybe that's the speed that Roland Eggerman, his ultimate speed. So therefore, number 2 will be slowed in turn at some point tomorrow.
Talking about ultimate speed, I have Jeroen Merle with me. Jeroen, that was a long and very impressive stint.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, well, the speed difference between me and my teammates is quite significant. So we decided that would be best if I could just use the full amount that I'm allowed to drive to hopefully pull a gap, as we did. And now it's the task of my teammates just to drive the car nice and easy, make sure that we don't get in any accidents, don't spend too much time or unnecessary time in the pit lane. And then hopefully tomorrow I can increase the gap a little bit more.
You came in quite early for the first stop and just took fuel. Was that to make sure the fuel station was empty when you went there?
Yeah, well, we pushed quite hard in the beginning of the race as well, so the fuel consumption was already quite high in the beginning. And just, after some calculations at the pit wall, they decided to pull me in a little early just to make sure that we didn't spoil any time in the pit lane, as you said, by being stuck behind other guys trying to fuel up. And also just having the fuel consumption calculated right also for the intervention that we have tonight.
All right, thank you very much.
Thinking all the time.
That guy's a very young guy and he's got a fantastic command of the English language.
Yep. So the lead then has the Jeroen Mul's not back out again yet, is he?
No, he's
sorry, not Jeroen.
No, because they've gone into the fuel stop, which has taken 3 laps. Quick question. I mean, the Seat, which obviously is the 72 or 3, which is replacing its turbo manifold. If you had that problem and you'd already dropped a few laps, happening now, would you at 7 o'clock have to go hands off, even though the car's sitting in the garage? So
yes.
Right. Okay. Because I mean, it's not like you'd be seeking to get an advantage because you already lost half an hour or so. It's more like they won't let you carry on the work. It is literally everyone stops.
Yeah, well, that seems to be the case. Right, according to the timing screens, Nick, Kenneth Heyer, we knew went into the lead with that long pit stop for Jeroen Mul, and the second pit stop, it must be said, for the Lamborghini, and he's leading now by 19 or so, nearly 20 seconds, probably by the time Alex van der Hoff brings the yellow V8 Racing Corvette round to the start-finish line, it'll be more than 20 seconds. Christian Breck is third in the number 33 Mercedes, that's the Martini liveried one. Then Michael Goltz, who's taken over, is now out of the refueling, so it seems, for the Lamborghini. Just trying to spot it, just coming through beneath us at Hugenholz box. So he's down into 4th place. But is he ahead of number 90 on the circuit? Just trying to see when you get this scrolling around. 90 is the SP2 class leader, Jörg Wiebahn, and then Peter Cox is 6th, and he's now less than 10 seconds behind and still the fastest driver on the track. But in fact, Kenneth Hare is now matching his time as he stretches the lead. In fact, he gained another 6 seconds on the Corvette on that lap alone. So it's now out to 25 seconds, nearly 26 between 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, straight away. That's 6 seconds right there, isn't it? 26 seconds further back, Christian Brache in the 33 Benz.
Number 42 bearing the scars of war. The rear, effectively the rear fender is off the back of that Baz Curtin Racing Seat Super Copa. So we haven't seen a great deal of incident on the circuit, but quite a few cars have had little prangs, haven't they, Nick? You've been quite surprised how many cars have come in. You just had Martin Byford, who didn't reckon he'd hit anything, but you were fairly convinced there'd been a few little dings here and there.
It's a really good point, actually, Bruce. It's mostly the cars you would say were the touring cars.
Yes.
Have had issues with the location of bodies. So we've seen both the Seat, or 2 of the Seats, have balances and rear bumpers come adrift, and not always showing those normal signs you would expect of contact. Now, people say it's a very bumpy circuit. I can't believe that they're just falling off, but perhaps there's even a light brushing is perhaps not being able to be withstood by these 20-minute cars designed for 20-minute half-hour races.
Yeah, no, I think you got a point there, Nick, because we have been mercifully free. I mean, with the exception of number 17 launching itself off the Speed Lover Porsche down at Tarzan, we've had a few running across the gravel at turns 11 and 12. And a couple of maybe running across the grass. Still not entirely sure where the number 9 Ferrari lost so much time early on with its tour off the circuit, but drivers behaving very well. And as you have found out, a lot of the drivers coming in are really quite, how should we say, aware of the speed difference between the various class cars out there.
I mean, pretty certain that everybody is under complete instructions to make sure this car comes back in raceable form when we stop tonight at 7 o'clock. And that's the thing. The first thing is, like, look, just get it at 7 o'clock. Get it in a condition where it can race tomorrow. It's like that sort of thing where, when you're playing a really good football team, just survive the first 20 minutes and see where we are from there.
Yeah, I think the key thing is not getting too many laps down. I mean, at the moment we've only got the leading 3 in the GT3s in the A6 class on the lead lap, but everybody else is only, I mean, Peter Cox, Michael Goltz, Gustav Edelhoff, all only a lap back. Roland Eggerman, 2 laps, 3 laps back now. That's starting to get difficult. But save a fuel stop here, you save a lap and a half.
I think you save 3.
Really?
I think it's 3 laps.
No,
it is.
Is that including the driver change and the tyres?
Down the pit lane, round the corner, put in 100 litres of fuel, come out, that's 6 minutes.
What are you eating?
Someone gave me a waffle.
How appropriate.
I was very I was sitting there going, I'm really quite hungry, and look, and without even, I wasn't even using the plaintive sort of puppy dog eyes. They went, would you like something? Well, yeah, thank you very much.
Did you do that thing with your front paws?
I did. Apparently now I have to go for a walk with him and chase a ball, but it's fine. It's worth it.
Just to reiterate where this runs, 3 hours today, 6 hours tomorrow, doesn't mean that it'll be midnight when we
9
stop.
hours tomorrow.
9 hours tomorrow. Doesn't mean it will be midnight tomorrow when we restart. There is a full night's break. There is a curfew here at Zandvoort because of the proximity now of development. Some of it, which I'm looking at now, on the site of the old circuit, in fact, off to the distance. There's a 7 o'clock curfew. So the way to get 12 hours in has to be to stop everything overnight, and then we'll restart in the morning
at 10 o'clock.
At 10 o'clock, at a rather sensible.
I quite like that. We were in early doors this morning to sort the comms up here.
And we're about to see the vet again.
Peter Cox now up to 4th place.
You're about to see the what again?
The Corvette is going to come in again any second now. Number 5 is out in the pit lane, and they're taking tyres again. It was interesting because they said they were going to use part of the long-winded explanation of why he had the garage to himself because of the 7 sets of tyres on the pit lane. And please go back on the on the archive and tell me if you can explain that reason at all, because it made no sense to me.
Well, here's one for you, Nick. Maybe the car's not handling as well as it could, because of course that was whacked into the barriers at the start of qualifying.
I said, is it straight? He went, yes, of course it's straight. I was thinking, how do you know? You've done a slow lap to thing. Under speed, who knows? But they are about to put a new set of tyres in. They're about to put a new driver in, so they've done a complete rotation of 3 drivers as well.
That's a full stint for that car, or close. Well, maybe not a full stint.
Here it comes.
Probably a full stint of tyres. And that was 1 hour and 17 minutes. If you remember before, did nowhere near that. Only did about 28 laps.
Well, it was the first of the front runners into pit, wasn't it? So
I reckon that's gone half an hour.
It's been held below you, boys.
Oh, is it?
It's serving a penalty for something. I don't know what it is. It's been held there now, right below you. You can't see it. It's underneath your feet. The thing I would say is that when they have finished this stop, even with this penalty, they will obviously go to a completely clear set of fuel pumps, so they won't lose any time there. But yeah, there was a penalty. I will, if I can, I'll try and find out what that was about.
What was that, about a 10-second stop and go?
I think that was 20.
Okay.
But which is an odd period, so perhaps it was 30 or perhaps it was 15. But
or maybe it was 2 10s.
I'm not sure what it was for. I have seen a couple of people walking up this end with their drivers, so there obviously have been a couple of conversations with stewards, but as nothing's really happened to see someone punting anyone off, it must be procedural violations of numbers of men over the wall and that sort of thing. And the number 1's back in the pits, guys, and going in the garage. The 1 has gone into the garage.
Okay, that was Roland Eggerman. He was actually, his lap times were coming down, and I thought maybe this is the first time he's driven the car. He hasn't had much lap time. He might be paying for the team to be here, but he was the one who was spooked. He was the one who came in to have those tyres checked. And number 3, Mercedes nearly dropped it going through Gerlach box. So even at this stage in the race, drivers getting caught in a pack of traffic can get caught out.
Okay, well they're changing drivers on the 1 car, and they're changing tyres again. And they are now having a good old look at the rear suspension as well, and they're also doing a download. So something's not running quite right in that car. It was Roland who's in the car, was it?
Yeah, Roland Eggerman. And just to say, the V8 Racing Corvette has gone into refueling.
He did, yeah. I mean that would make sense. They can make a nice. Oh, the 73 Seat's back out again. So back out from last.
That was the first one in for a proper pit stop. He only has 10 laps on the board. That was the yellow and black Super Kobe. You rather forget when they get tucked away into these small garages and put away at the back and fiddled with. But meanwhile, out front, nearly a minute, 59 seconds between Kenneth Heyer pulling away in the lead and number 33, Christian Brecker, in second place.
Alex van der Hoff's car, the number 5 Corvette, has now been in the pit lane 2 minutes and 22 seconds.
Including that stop-go.
Yeah. So let's see what he gets by the time he rolls back out again.
Yeah, because that'll be a clean stop. He won't know how to wait at all.
Correct. But that'll give us a kind of, if we take about 20 seconds off, that's going to give us a kind of a minimum time for a pit stop, isn't it, if you get a clean run. That was tyres, it was a driver, but that would be very interesting to see. He's up to 2 minutes 50 now.
Nick, at any point when you've looked at the refueling bays, have there been drivers queuing?
Not so far.
Okay.
But there have been points when it's been very busy, and you would have thought that more than 4 cars have been through at the time. So the methodology of basically with the classes has meant they've been staggered quite well. I'm just going to see if I can go well with Rowan. I've gone to walk power 4. He's at the back of the garage. That's his tyres being put back on again. Just to find out what the issue is with this number 1 machine.
Can we just confirm, Nick, for Stefan W, who's just tweeted in, how many fuel pumps are there?
There are 4 petrol and 1 diesel.
4 petrol and 1 diesel, Stefan. There you go.
I'm going to try and go with Roland now, see if I can. Roland? Roland, obviously some problems with the number 1 car. You came in after a few laps, you changed the tyres. What did you feel was wrong with the car?
We have a problem with the brake system, with the ABS. And we're looking for us, they can see at the sensor. I hope, I look.
So is it triggering too soon or erratically? What is the precise nature of the ABS problem?
Oh, sorry, I'm not understand.
Okay, so yeah, so one of the things I think is, as John has said, because he's experienced driving a high-performance car with ABS, the point of it is you actually don't want to trigger it.
Yeah. Well, yes and no. In the old days, it was a lot more crude. ABS now has come on too much. You can actually brake and get a bit of brake chatter all the way into the corner. whereas in the old days you didn't want to do it at all.
Did you see what the time was? The Corvette just went back out onto the pits. I think we
Okay.
lost the end of that. I'd say it was about 5 minutes.
Certainly over 4. There he is, just going round Hugenholzbocht in front of us.
And that's Rick Abrecht taking over the third stint in that car, down into 7th place now. Had
Nick,
been up in second.
Yes.
I have a question for you that I don't think you'll know it off by heart. I can't find anything in the regs about this, but you might have to ask somebody. Tomorrow, when we restart the race, the grid closes. Oh, sorry, excuse me. The pit lane closes at 9:20.
Right.
And then we don't restart the race until 10 local times, all of these.
Right.
What's happening in that 40 minutes? Are they going to let people do warm-up laps, or are they going to grid them, or
would you want to do warm-up laps? Because then
well, you won't want to use fuel, will you?
That's a really good question.
Will the mechanics push them round the lap to the grid?
Yes,
you're right. It's a question I have no idea.
Pit lane exit closed, then 40 minutes later you start. Well, you're not going to want the cars to cool down for 40 minutes for a start.
And also, are we restarting side by side as we did at the start of the race?
Well, I don't know whether they're going to have perhaps they want to have another grid situation where everyone can have a chat and everything else. And they can get the Saturday guests onto the pits. No other reason for it. I mean, obviously they'll actually roll off probably again for 2 warm-up laps, so 7 to 10 minutes prior to 10 o'clock.
And will they start them in class positions? You could do that for another twist, couldn't you?
Yeah.
To avoid those sort of incidents down into Tarzan on the
questions that need to be asked.
See
if you can find one of the British teams that will.
I'll have a word. I'll try and throw it in before the end of the day if I find somebody who looks like they might have some sort of idea more than we do.
The regs that I've got are all for. Are all for generally for the whole series and not just for this event.
The rebuilt Audi from scrap is now in the pits. The R8, that is a one of those things. It's probably a Cat C, you think, or a Cat D, rebuilt into a race car, and that is in the pits at the moment, and they are
many people's favourite. We've got a yellow flag at turn 11 at the moment, which is
the chicane, the first part of the Hans-Ernst-Bock. We can't see the yellow flag at the marshal's post, so I think maybe it's come in again.
If I had £1 every time you've said that, I'd have at least £11.
What an idiot I am!
No,
I've left my bike.
You have not brought your binoculars to every single continent in the world.
Yeah, that is true. Most times I don't need them though. Here they would have been supremely useful.
But you always say at some point, "Oh no, I forgot my binos," whether you need them or not.
Right, pay attention at the back.
Okay.
For the restart, for the 9-hour part, the cars will be grouped according to class, and the class order will be A6, which is sensible, they're the fastest cars. Then 997, I think we've only got one of those competing. SP2, and in fact A6 and SP2 are the top 2 classes in terms of speed.
Yeah.
996, again, I think we only have one of those. Then SP3, they're the 3rd fastest class according to running positions. SP4, we don't have any. A5, in fact, they've gauged the right order. So the quicker cars will start in class groups.
So let's then find out what happens at the end of the 3 hours. At 18:50, this is answering your question. Well found, Bruce, thank you.
You dig and you find.
At 18:50, the pit entry will be closed 10 minutes before the end of the race. If you come in, you get a 2-lap penalty. At 1900, you finish the 3-hour part, and after the cooling down lap, all cars will go to Parc Fermé, and that's it. 30 minutes after the finish, Parc Fermé ends. The intervention break is between the 3-hour and the 9-hour part of the race, and the cars will stay in the Parc Fermé intervention area. You can't go in, and anybody who's in the pit they'll be moved there, and they can. The infringement is 10-lap penalty. If you want to work on the car within 30 minutes after the 3 hours is finished, otherwise the penalty is 20 laps. Okay. Wow. So that's punitive. And when we restart, all the cars go through the gate and enter the track just before the final corner. You can adjust mirrors, clean windows, adjust pressures with hand tools. You can put a new drink bottle, and you can do the data logger. So you're not allowed to change or remove the tyres, open the bonnet or refuel. Anybody who's in the pit can only come out with approval, if that has to be written, and a 10-lap penalty. And any cars that are broken in the intervention area will be released when the race is restarted.
Peter Cox into the pits from third place, very, very late, going around a back marker. He's coming in down towards you, Nicholas, up to third place, but of course the start driver lost a fair deal of time for the number 9 Ferrari.
And indeed he has come to a halt, and it looks like they're going to run some more Cox time, because they're giving him a new set of boots, but they're not removing Peter from the machine. So,
well, less than 40 minutes remaining, that makes a lot of sense.
They're going to obviously try and get as much as they can.
And I've just read, you restart tomorrow, you can restart with whoever you want. So you could put Coxie back in the car tomorrow to restart if you want to.
So you get a free driver change then.
Correct.
The only thing you get between the two parts.
That is exactly right.
And he's gone out, and is he going to hang up? Yep, and he's hanging a right to fuel up as well. So again, that might be an interesting one to get the total pit stop time for. But that was a quick stop with tyres only, and it was good tyres. They weren't doing anything else.
Well, he's into the refuelling point just as the 1 minute mark goes from his pit entry, so it goes to prove the tyres were put on very quickly indeed. And the lone Ferrari in this race, which came in from third place into refuelling very, very quickly indeed. And the only MG in the race, number 99, Simon Byrne, just bringing that in. That's the car, the MG ZR you were talking about early on.
That's had several journeys. Have you got on the timing screens, do you have a pit stop counter?
Yeah, we can tell you how many. So let's see, 99, he is 4 so far. This is his 4th.
What's 39 done?
39, it's gone off the clock. 5.
Yeah. No, it must be on a tow truck twice.
Oh, maybe those don't count.
If it's not under power, it might not trigger the thing.
So, 1 minute and 11 seconds between Kenneth Hare in the number 2 Mercedes leading for Hofer Racing, and the number 33 Martini liveried entry from the Car Collection Motorsport team with Christian Brecker at the wheel. 1 minute 11 seconds between them. Peter Cox was third, is still third, but as we know, he's having fuel put into the Praha Racing Ferrari. So the SP2 class leader, the very, very impressive Renault Megane Trophy car, number 90 with Jörg Wiebahn at the wheel, has now just slotted up into third place as he completes another lap. He's 2 laps down on the race leader. Michael Goltz should then move up into 4th place overall. He took over the lone Lamborghini Gallardo from Lippert Motorsport, and that will go up into 4th place. That was the car that, of course, Jeroen Muhl did such a great opening 2 stints.
And look what, okay, they're not on the lead lap now. They've dropped a couple of laps. Nick, you were right. I take it back. They have lost 3 laps in that 10 car after leading for taking that stop. That second stop.
Yeah, it does. It's quite a slow fill, and I suppose they're taking between 90 and 120 litres, and it's only the same speed as a pump you get at Sainsbury's. And we know there's, you do see this at every age where you're filling up sometimes, don't you? But you realise that when you try for that Q7 you've currently got on loan, John.
Yeah, but it's 3 laps. The deficit is 3 laps, but they have done the 2 stops, so they are carrying more fuel. So
yes.
That has to settle down.
And if they can get in just before the end of this session, the last 10 minutes of this session.
Okay, guys, this is important because Cox is about to come out. So I'll tell you when when he crosses the pit, and he goes to pit exit.
3:34. 3 minutes 34 seconds.
That's as good as it could be, I reckon. That's the minimum. That's 2 laps, isn't it?
It's almost exactly 2 laps. Yeah.
So that was, as you say, you don't know whether he would have taken the full allocation as allowed. I'm not sure what that is. I've got the sticker between 90 and 120 litres.
Did he take tyres? I can't remember.
Yes, he did.
He did, of course. He didn't get out, so
everything
of course
apart from the driver change, yeah.
Yeah, but you do your driver change in less time than it would take you to do the tyres.
The interesting thing about the Lamborghini stop, of course, they lost 45 seconds that seatbelt issue.
True.
So perhaps 2.5 laps is par, and that stop for Cox at 2 laps is a good one.
It's just an absolute belter, if you'll pardon the pun. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got 35 minutes still to go. Kenneth Hare leads for Hofer and the Mercedes-Benz by 1 minute and 10 seconds now. That's a minute that's come out of that since we were first looking at that stop when Christian Brecker got into second place.
Yeah, he has the ability to lap 2 or 3 seconds a lap faster. I guess that tallies. But what we're getting now, you get these gluts when people are coming out of pit stops, and we have that SP2 car, the 90, up into third place since Cox came in the Ferrari. But we're getting gluts of cars with drivers just coming out of the pits driving so slowly, and a driver of a quick car comes up upon a group of slower cars that then have to go past one that's dawdling as you get to Gerlach-Boch-Hülkenhochbotz. You could blow the whole thing.
No tyre warmers, of course.
No, of course not.
So, and that is another thing about your outlap being very, very slow, and why you want to try and make the tyres last as long as you can, because if you're not doing that tyre stop and you're keeping your driver in, you send him, he's still got warm rubber.
Yeah.
We missed something.
Yes.
The 49 car just came in its pit stop.
Ricky Coomber.
He came in and they've changed tyres and they've sent it off to the fuel stop. So he only did the 2 hours 22 minutes.
He's just gone out 3:48 now. So 48 seconds off that. Almost exactly 2 hours and 23 minutes. 22 minutes. 2 hours, 22 minutes.
It's still listed as Ricky in the car, so he's obviously...
I don't think it is.
It can't be, can it? Well, it could be.
Sorry, I found Ricky here. Ricky, you are now officially the Iron Man after a 2 hour, 22 minute stint.
Well, I would have stayed out a bit longer if it weren't for Lamborghini taking me out.
What, you came together?
Yeah, Lambo obviously hit us going over the brow. Yeah, so that's it. So really, a little bit of damage. So had to come in, obviously check the car over and change the wheel. So yeah.
Obviously we didn't see. So there's only one Lamborghini in the race. So it was obviously the gold and the black one. So is there any damage on his car, or did he just ignore it?
No, at the time I was launched across the grass. So last week I was the best damage. So good racing though. So good.
Well, Ricky, and enjoy your sleep.
I wonder if that was the yellow flag then, just before.
That would explain it.
Yeah.
There are certain sections of the circuit we can't see just over the brow after Hunsrück. That's clear.
How much longer he could have done?
Well, I just wonder. But also, that's the thing. You can drive the perfect, cautious yet accurate race, and then get caught out in a slower car by someone coming up in a far, far quicker car. And I'm sure Ricky wasn't in the way on purpose. Clearly not. Oof. Sometimes I keep thinking I see a car across the track. It's one of those pickups out of the Rob Slottermacher. You see it out the corner of your eye from a high position.
Ross Warburton behind the wheel of the number 105. This is the Ginetta. Back up to second that car now in SP3. Now, am I right in thinking Ross Warburton's done a heck of a lot of national racing, did he? I mean,
quite a while ago.
There was a Stephen Warburton as well, wasn't there? Who did Rover Tomcats going back that far?
Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. Or maybe they're brothers.
Screen sport programming.
Oh dear.
Well, we all go back a long way, Nicholas.
Well, the good thing about the Warburtons, of course, they've got enough bread to do the racing.
Should we ignore him? I think we shall.
I think we can possibly offer the listener only after that a crumb of comfort and tell him that Nick won't be...
He'll be toast.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going with that on my career.
I'm not going to put you up for that. Sorry. But next time you're going to say something like
just
that, you use your loaf first.
I have to work if I need the dough. I'm relaxed.
Your joke's getting a bit stale. Right, carry on. So, is someone still leading the race? Yes, Kenneth Hayer is still leading the race for Hofer Racing. 1 minute 12 seconds. It's creeping out again. We knew he had the speed. A couple of better laps from Christian Brecker, or maybe more to the point, a couple of slower laps from Kenneth Hayer. There are these gluts of traffic out around the circuit, doing the right thing. But the sister car, number 1, is now halfway down the second screen in 36th position. It's been in the pits for 17.5 minutes.
Right, let's quickly run through, as we've got half an hour to go here on RadioLeMans.com, live from Zandvoort. It's the Hankook 12 hours here in the Netherlands. Kenneth Hayer by 1 minute and 16 seconds over Christian Brecker. So number 2 Mercedes for Hofer, and then number 33, and the 33 car is the Car Collection Motorsport, the second of their entries. Let's run through some of the other leaders. Jörg Webern, who's impressed me immensely in that number 90. He has done a really cracking job and leads SP2 for the Las Moras Racing Team, the Renault Megane Trophy. And as I say, 3rd position overall. Has made one stop, been in the car just over an hour, Jörg, or in this stint at least. The next leader is down in 10th position, and that is SP2.
Car number 1 leaves the pits.
Excuse me, not SP2 at all. It's SP3. And that is Niels Bauhuis.
That's in the Nissan.
Oh, of course it is, yeah, 76. They have led that class pretty much from the start.
Can I just cut in there? Nick just mentioned number 1 has left the pits. We don't know if it's Roland Eggman on board. Probably not, because I think Nick spoke to him, but that's just gone for refueling. So the number 1 is going to drop further and further down the order, outside the top 40.
A5 is still Bas van den Ven, 13th position, and he is in the 82 car, which is... And why is that not in with the rest of the A5s? Is that the one that got moved?
Which one's that, John?
Hang on, I might be reading the wrong number out, don't worry. A5, 82. Yeah, there's all the A5s.
And the 90 has come in. The Megane Trophy car that's doing so well is coming with a puncture front left, guys. So the 90 is using this for a stop, out of sequence, driver change and tyres, but that's a forced stop for that Megane Trophy machine.
Yeah, that's say that long time. So it's come in from 3rd place overall. Jörg Wiebahn into the pits in that Renault. Thank you very much, Nick.
So have we worked out what the 82 is then?
Well, it's the MDM Motorsport, the one I like so much. A3T is its listing.
The 82 is a BMW, I know that.
Yeah, well, that is now changed to an A5.
Not according to the entry list.
But they do that, don't they? We've had a lot of this in Dubai where cars have gone up or down a group after the various parts of practice.
Bas van der Ven is ahead of Ronnie Latine and Mathieu Sentis, both in the Peugeot 208 GTIs. He's only 15 seconds ahead of the second one. That's a great battle for 13th, 14th and 15th position. A3T then is Guy Bessem in the 41 car, and that is the NKPP Racing Seat Leon Super Cobra that he shares with Harry Hilders. And that car has been there or thereabouts for pretty much the whole race. Was in second for a wee while at the start. A2 is all the way down in 24th position. Now, that is the lead for Jan Engelbrecht. And the 106 is the A2.
It's the little Clio.
It is the Clio. Now that's a change then, isn't it? Because they dropped down into 3rd. Jakob Christensen was passed by Martin Byford from 2nd, and he was in that. They were then in that battle with the 47 car.
Yeah, the 47, the white one.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the 57 of Stephen Ritchie. Now Stephen Ritchie's taken over, and that car, which was leading when Martin Byford brought it in, has dropped down to 6th position in class. So that's a bit of a story. Andreas Kempf is still leading D1, and that is in the 71 no, that's a new leader. That's the TTC Racing Volkswagen. So that's a new leader as well. Now, do they also stop? No. And he's going very quickly, thank you very much. Is Andreas Kempf. We mentioned him. He does his fastest and the car's fastest lap of the race. 2:02.9. Oh, he's only in 2nd though. There you go.
Yeah, there's a big gap between he and the 72 entry, which is the Racy Racing, the Belgian entry.
Who have led since the start.
Yeah.
Right, that makes far more sense. Thank you very much. My brain and my eyes are falling apart at this stage of the day already. It doesn't bode well for tomorrow and indeed for 2 weeks' time. So I think that's all the leaders at least.
But one thing you talked about is how Stephen Ritchie in the 57 entry dropped down, but his lap times are much quicker than those ahead of him.
Yeah.
Sorry, Stephen Ritchie. So he will be gaining places in A2. I think that could be a pit stop secret. No. Was it a long pit stop? I don't remember with Martin
Martin
Byford.
said he would
was a little damage, wasn't it?
He would have stayed out loud. They had to do all the taping up.
After the crash with the Lamborghini,
yeah.
Of course. That would explain it. Okay. There has to be a reason. Gap between 1st and 2nd between Kenneth Heyer and in number 2 and Christian Bracker in the 33 Mercedes has been 1:10. It's creeped out to 1:14 and doesn't seem to be a great deal of pace difference between them. Fastest on the track last time around was in fact Christian Bracker in 2nd position in 33. Peter Cox has just gained another place, moved past number 90 as it was in the pits, but has now, just trying to see, I think 90's Jörg Wiebahn is in the refueling area. So Peter Cox having this yo-yo race, he took over the car way down the order and is absolutely flying in the Praha Racing Ferrari, just flashing his lights, diving down the inside of the number 37 BMW. I think that's the oldest one in the race. That's the Team Picton racing car. gets that through Kugenholz's box, past the very, very much delayed yellow and black 73 Seat over the top of Hunsrück, sweeps through the Rob Slottermacher box, and Poetry in motion, just catching the sunlight as he goes into Schevlach and down the hill out of our sight. And this part of the circuit over on the start-finish straight is now all in the shade, probably not even the shade of the grandstand. In fact, it's just a very large cloud. The only area hit by sun is Schevlach, and as the circuit goes through Mastersbocht at the far corner through turn 9 and turn 10, and then the drivers go back into the cloudy part, the shaded part of the circuit as they come down the short straight to turns 11 and 12, that tight chicane when you get towards the back of the outer half of the paddock.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just think it's interestingly quiet in the pits at the moment. We just had the 86 stop in the TTRS machine, but the constant flow has come back to a trickle, and I assume this because everyone now is either back timing or forward timing to what they want to do in the last 10 minutes prior either side of the actual stoppage.
Right, well, the longest stints, let's see, 1 hour 18 and 21 for the second place car. So that's
we're going to see
1 hour 18 for the 76.
And the number 2 has come in, John, and that is serving a time penalty.
Right into the pit lane. That was in 1 hour 18 as well. So he's
in the stopping hold for some reason.
Why are we getting these? But they're not coming up on the screen.
And that wasn't a very long one. That was 10 or 15 seconds at the most. He now comes forward, the number 2 machine, and will take full set of tyres. And my guess, obviously, but no, they're not changing driver in the 2. So he's taking tyres.
He's getting set up for tomorrow.
And will obviously take a full slurp of fuel, which he will then run for just 20 minutes or 19 minutes by the time we get out the other side. So this is obviously, they've probably got a narrow window when they can do this, and they know that all 4 pumps are free at the moment. So
this actually might start a bit of a run for it.
Yeah,
I think now that you've seen the leader do that.
Yeah, I was just about to say that it's about to change, but just during that pit stop, something you don't often see in the sort of the checkered area, the NCP car parks area in the middle of the pits you were talking about earlier, alongside number 2 as it sat there, a seagull came in and landed for a nanosecond, then decided it was a bit noisy and took off. Certainly that's another excuse for the driver's book of why they muck things up in their pit stops.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed my pit. I had to swerve to avoid a seagull.
Yes, Mr. J. Livingston of number 1. So Kenneth Hare came in with the number 2 from the lead of the race, and the 76 Nissan that's been going so well in SP3, that is in the pits as well.
And we've got the Martini car in as well. That's
Martini, from second place.
Second place, as we said, it has triggered everything off now. Now they're going to be careful, Martini car, because I think they might find there's they'll be the third of 4. The next 2 cars that come in, if they come in too quickly, they're going to find the fuel tanks are full.
I think you might have a wander down that way so that you can you get on the top of the pit building and see where the things are? I think.
Well, he could just walk to the end of the pits and it'd be in clear view.
I will do. I'm going to go silent for a minute. So I have to do a battery change.
Okay.
Why don't you? Well, you could do it sitting from a table in Mickey's bar at the end with a cooling beer in your hand. Not that I put the idea into your head, Nicholas, but now it's there. It's going to be painful, isn't it?
Yes.
So the last 20 minutes of the first 3 hours, the first part, and cars of all shapes and sizes are heading into the pit lane.
Okay, are we going to have the Lamborghini back in the lead?
Could do.
Michael Goltz, he's done his 2 pit stops early on.
And he's been out 30. The question is...
He's not going to come in again, is he?
Well,
or is he?
About 40 minutes we saw earlier on, didn't we? 41, 42 minutes. We saw the Corvette come in and top it back off right to the full. So he does that now, or he takes the track position in the morning.
Depends who your sponsors are, doesn't it? What they want to see on their Saturday at 10 o'clock, 10 to 11. It's annoying when cars are coming in and pulling up for penalties beneath us. We can't see them, and one of the 2 Porsches coming in there.
Silver Porsche with almost a radial
number 26
on it. Yeah, the sort of dark grey silver car. It's one of the Seats going around without the rear valance on.
Number 21, yeah, that's 42 without the rear valance, and that's number 21, the PG Motorsport Dutch entry. Jan van Est, Tiago Gillissen, who started it, and Eric van Dekker and Mike Barton, running in the SP3 class, but not at the sharp end Because, of course, even though they're in the pits, Sander Van Est still listed as the leader in that. But I think Ross Warburton in the Ginetta, who is out on the circuit, will go into the class lead in number 105. He'll move into 11th place, I would reckon.
Yeah, he should do that next time around, shouldn't he? As he goes through being in that car for an hour himself. These long stints as a driver, I mean, first of all, concentration levels, but also, you do get the opportunity to get yourself in the rhythm with this, even in these, I mean, particularly in the little touring cars. 2 hours and 20 minutes is longer than most people will have ever raced.
Absolutely.
It's probably more time in a car than you'd normally get, even in a double header weekend if you were racing in a sprint series.
On top of which, there is a strain of racing in a multi-class format where the performance differential is great, and for some of these drivers it might be their first shot at Zandvoort, a circuit on which there's precious little time to get a rest. The only respite is really down the 2 short straights.
Yeah. But I think it's good. I've said this for a long time. These are the sort of races that you might reasonably say, in a different way, but it starts to get you ready to go do things like the European Le Mans Series. You know, if you're in a GT3 car here and you're getting used to passing things, if you're in a touring car here, you're getting used to being passed. It doesn't matter which end, whether you're the fly or the windscreen, passing and being passed are skills you need to know in multi-class racing.
Okay, John, I suddenly just looked out the other window. I'm just trying to see which Mercedes came out of the petrol. I think it's number 2. Let's see, it's coming up towards Gerlach-Bocht. Is it 2? Yes, it is. So that is leading the race. Michael Goltz in the number 10 Lamborghini should go into second place, unless... Where is he on the lap? I think he's just gone through Chevlach, so he's half a lap away. And who else is coming out of the refueling? Someone leaving. Oh, the Racing BMW's come out of refueling, waiting to see if the Martini Mercedes makes it out before the Lamborghini comes round. 4 minutes 10 in their stops. I think the Lamborghini could get past into second place again.
Yeah, that's including the fueling there as well. Let's look back down the start-finish straight. Can we see anything wedge-like coming towards us as Kenneth Hayer goes back out on lap 85, excuse me. He's completed 84, and we've got 7 minutes left to the pit lane closing. So that, 3 hours has gone over in the blink of an eye.
I think this is the Lamborghini trying to see through the lights, coming with lights on. No, that's the Audi. That's the Beserplast Audi. That's 86. That's running in 10th place. Martin Shawnee just lost a position there, waiting for the Lamborghini to come round. Christian Brecker has come out of the refueling in number 33. So he should have stayed in second place. So leading the race, Kenneth Hare in... No, in fact, while that happened, Michael Goltz in the Lamborghini is listed. They must have just changed that.
No, I think what
do you think that's an error?
No, what happened was Goltz had crossed the line and was in the lead. Excuse me. Hare was in the pit lane when Goltz crossed the line.
Okay.
He was 5 minutes behind him.
Gotcha.
But in point of fact, he had gone round and taken it.
Okay, that would explain, because suddenly I thought he'd lost a lap.
You're going to see Peter Cox jump up any second now as well. There he is, he's doing that now. And Rick Abresch is 5:54 behind Brecker. He'll go back through past Brecker when you see them come round next time.
Okay,
so it's Goltz leading for Lamborghini by 25 seconds from Hare in second in the number 2 Mercedes-Benz, the Huffer car, and then just 5 seconds behind Peter Cox in the Ferrari. I want to see Peter Cox in the Lamborghini.
I know, you have to just change your mindset, but Cox going very quickly, as he has been all race since he took over, and up over Hunsrück. He's now sweeping around a back mark around the outside of Chevlach. You don't always want to do that, but Peter doesn't mind. And I'm sure that gap will come down as Kenneth Hare is trying to get back up to speed in the number 2 Mercedes, but Cox absolutely flying in the number 9 Praha Racing Ferrari in third, but closing in on second.
So let's see who else is. We're going to have the top 6 as GT3 cars again, A6 cars again, and I think we're going to have probably 5 of those on the lead lap at the end of the race this evening.
Well, that has really closed it up. We didn't have an accurate representation. A long last lap for Christian Brecker. That must have been his outlap. That's the pit stop.
This is the pit stop. So that tells you how long it took them plus the outlap.
Okay, Goltz has just completed another lap in the leading Lamborghini. It was 24 seconds. It was a 1 minute 51. That's not quick. That is not quick at all.
No.
We should be doing a 1 minute 45 at this stage in the race. I know a lot of them have got a heavier fuel load, but Goltz has been out in the Lamborghini for 40 minutes, so that fuel load's coming down. Second place car, Kenneth Hare, is now 18 seconds down, so catching. Where's Peter Cox? He didn't gain as much. It was 4.8 seconds. He's lost a bit of ground, 5.2 seconds.
But here's the last lap time. Lamborghini with Michael Goltz at the wheel, 51.0. Kenneth Hare in the number 2 Mercedes-Benz, 44.4. Peter Cox, number 9 Ferrari, 44.9. Rick Abrecht, number 5 Corvette, 45.2. What about Christian Brecker, first flying lap effectively, second flying lap, 8.18 with his last lap in the pits. Let's see what he comes through this time. He's due through any time now.
He's just gone through the chicane, 11 and 12. I think that's him, or is that the GDL Racing Mercedes? Quite hard to catch it in the sunlight now. Sun is back all over the circuit, so that big
Lovely,
cloud has moved on. It is great.
Beautiful time of night, and this will be finish time, of course, tomorrow. Let's hope we get the same sort of weather.
Yeah, and I wonder if we're due the same sort of weather. We had 52 starters. Let's see how many we get starting tomorrow. No reason why it shouldn't be all of them, frankly.
Absolutely. Luc Bramsch has gone up into 6th position in the SP2 leader. We're still waiting for the number 3 car to come through, Gustav Edelhoff. And it's a 49.8 for him last time around. Brecker, 49.4. So those early laps, difficult to get heat into the tyres, even if you're full, you don't want to push too hard. There goes the 33, Christian Brecker. He's in behind the Zest Racing Seat again, coming out of the hairpin in front of us, the Hugenholz hairpin.
That'll be a slow lap. He really wanted to get the power down, but with the red Seat bobbling around in front of him, nothing he could do.
And there is oil on the circuit at Arie Luyendyk, that's turn 14.
The final corner of that. Peter
Just
Cox.
What you don't want.
Exactly, and also, hold on, where's the sun?
Yeah.
Just trying to think. Right in there. No, it's not. Yes, of course, it's right in their faces as they come through that corner.
Awful.
They're facing west.
Awful time. We've got 2.5 minutes of the pit lane before it will be closed, and in right on the wire.
The lopsided number 89, the white GC Automobiles car. That was the one Nick thought was 6 centimetres higher on one side and the other. Very quick last lap from Kenneth Hare, 1 minute 43.4. We haven't seen one that fast for quite some while.
Well, he must be guessing that the end of this session, of course, the tyres will get a chance to recuperate overnight. Not really worth holding anything back through. Goes the Nissan, number 76, with Max Cobalt at the wheel. And where's the SP3 leader?
It's Ross Warburton, because we had the Nissan coming into the pit. So Ginetta leading the way, only had one pit stop so far.
And Ross has been in there for over an hour now. In fact, over an hour and a quarter. Great gaggle of a variety of cars. The Nissan, that silver grey Porsche, one of the Focus as well in there, just showing the variety. Number 3, Gustav Edelhoff, Mercedes-Benz, the red, white and black with the yellow understripe on that. 1 minute and 16 seconds to get into the pits. If you're going to come and fuel now, this would be brilliant to do it right now.
You know what? We haven't talked about number 1 for a while. It's down in 39th position. That was the one that Maxi Boot started, and the third driver in the car is Michael Kroll. He's now lapping at a better pace because it was taking a very long time for Egerman to get down to the low 50s, and already into the 49s is Michael Kroll, but the damage has been done.
14 laps off the pace now.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Amazing just how quickly round here that drops. You don't have to have a big problem here. 2 seconds at the head of the field. We're coming to a checkered flag, which is not the end of the race, but they're racing towards it. And the
Synchro Motorsport to Honda has just come in, just 25 seconds remaining when it came into the pit lane.
That is genius.
Gosh, all that whole plan could be ruined by getting blocked further around that lap, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Someone spin in front of you.
Stephen Ritchie coming into the pits for just the second stop of that car. Remember, Martin Byford led the class in that Synchro Motorsport Honda earlier on. 5, 4, 3. This is to the end of the pit lane closing. 1, closed.
No takers. Now. No, but someone's trying to come. No, he's indicating coming around the final corner. That was trying to get someone out of the way. Don't worry, that's the number 3.
2 lap penalty if you come in now. So 9:51, and we've got a race to the end of the first part of the Hankook 12 Hours of Zandvoort. It's Michael Goltz leading in the Lamborghini
by 2.98 seconds last time around. Kenneth Hare will be closing in, waiting to see what it is this time when they come around to complete lap 89, waiting to see the cars. But 7 seconds gain on the last lap alone. Was Goltz caught in traffic? Of course he was. But then, of course, there was the oil, as we were told, up at turn 14. Oil flags seem to be in now quite hard looking into the sun. But first and second, 2.98 seconds last time around. Kenneth Hare has gone into the lead in number 2, just crossed the start-finish line. Where is the Lamborghini? This could be dramatic. Oh no, is this the Lamborghini coming into the pits now? That's too late. John, we have the Lamborghini coming in slowly.
No, he can't.
He's already lost the lead. He's now come in. He looks like he's smoking. And the number 7 Mercedes is coming in. GDL Racing. 2 teams have got it wrong, but he lost a lot of time. The race leader.
He's gone into.
He's been pulling in for a warning, a delay, a stop-go right beneath our commentary tower.
Well, let's send
High
Nick
drama.
Down there to race control on the way down. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I'll just nip down and see what's going on.
Well, he's out. He's down on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side of that car.
Yeah.
That's not running.
Yeah,
now
puncture.
this is a 2-lap penalty. Whatever happens now, this is a 2-lap penalty. Well, he's gone past his pit.
So are they?
He's been pulled for a stop-go.
But what I think, and number 7 was as well. They're way out of the running. They're down in about 23rd place.
Presumably, then that doesn't count for the 2-lap penalty.
Well, he hasn't done any pit stuff, has he? He hasn't stopped or taken tyres or got fuel.
He came in and took a penalty.
But GDL Racing got it wrong because they came in. Looks like they took a penalty. Have now gone to the refueling bay.
Well, that's a 2-lap penalty for them for sure.
Well, it's not going to make much of a difference. They're down 8 laps back. And the 76 SP3, the Nissan, is coming in from
second
position in class, 19th overall. So a lot of people. Well, that hasn't stopped for any form of penalty, but they will be getting some. What you need to know is Kenneth Hare is now leading this race from the mercurial, remarkable Peter Cox up into second place in the Ferrari.
And Hare's just taken 2 seconds, or a second at least, out of Peter Cox. It's now 11.5 seconds, the lead from first to second. And I just wonder if Rick Abresh has possibly popped through into third position. I need to see how that shakes out when they come through next time around. Michael Goltz in for that.
Oh no, 2 cars.
It's the Synchro Motorsport car, and it's also the Core Lotus. It's the Synchro Honda. In front of us, he's backed it into the wall, and Core Oiz's Lotus. I don't know who's at the wheel of the 102 at the moment. It's Lisette Brahms.
Well, she did well to avoid him. And
big damage to the Synchro Honda.
Oh God, with 6.5 minutes remaining, he was sitting blocking more than half of the track. As we said before, John, it's incredibly narrow here, and went in backwards, stayed stationary for about 20 seconds, and has now pulled away. But Stephen Ritchie is still listed as the driver of that car.
That was his outlap.
Oh, the cold tyre syndrome.
That was his outlap. Oh dear. Remember, he popped in early to get filled up, and the rear tyres take a long. I didn't see if he took tyres. I didn't think he had, but maybe the heavier car. Oh dear.
Oh dear. Now he's a driver who won't want the long break between the 3 hours and the 9 hours that follow tomorrow.
Problem is now
Lamborghini in for a second time in the space of. This is a time penalty.
This is something.
No, there's a problem with that car. It does seem to be sitting lower on the right, surely.
He's driven through, and this time he's going to his box, surely. Nick Damon is down in the pit lane. Nick?
No, he's driving through again.
Driving to the fuel station, I think, which is also not allowed.
Well, that is a minimum of a 2-lap penalty.
Someone's not read the rules properly.
So it's suddenly looking very good for Kenneth Hare, leading the race by 11 seconds from Peter Cox. They're looking well. Rick Abresh in the V8 Racing Corvette in third now. Michael Goltz has just come in for the umpteenth time now. That's the 4th call to the pits for the Lamborghini. He is listed as 4th, but Christian Brecker in the Martini livery 33 will go up a position.
The 74 car, the Core Oiz machine, just come in. It doesn't appear to have. Oh, it's got a bit of damage on the front right and a bit of damage on the.
Sorry, what car was that?
That's the 74 machine. The other car involved, I think, in the.
No, it was 102 and.
Yeah, that's the.
57.
Yeah, it was the Core Oiz Lotus went off, and that you're seeing the Core Oiz Racing diesel BMW.
Which has also been off. It's got grass all over its wheels.
Ah, okay.
But again, that's going to take a 2-lap penalty for doing this.
Right. Penalty of 2 laps, 18:50 pit entry closed. Absolutely.
I wonder if there was any sign up towards pit entry saying now closed. I mean, I don't think that would have affected the Lamborghini too much, because clearly they had issues with which they had to come in.
Take the penalty, yeah. Got to take the penalty. They're allowed to work on the car if they apply in writing, but that was, the time for that was long past. The interesting thing is why they came in and drove through. That was clearly a penalty. And Nick, I'll take it we haven't heard anything from that.
No, not at all. Just also have been told that the Nissan has come in and it's in serious trouble. It's broken a drive shaft.
That was the other car that came in. Again, you can't do anything about that. You've kind of just got to do it.
We have a course vehicle coming onto the circuit, Nick, out of the final corner.
It's very, very busy going through tires at the moment. Everyone's bunched up together. Now, whether that's because they've been slowed down by something else, I don't know.
Well, the course vehicle is crossing the circuit from the grass verge, coming down to run alongside the pit wall. I can't see if anyone stopped by the pit wall. No sign of anyone there. Is there anyone off at Tarzan? Well, the course vehicle making its way down, lights flashing on its roof, down on the inside line to Tarzan.
The 57 car, has that made it back round, Nick?
I've not.
Right, that's the problem.
And it's saying will be recovered to pit lane.
Yeah.
It left its position below us.
It pulled. Because I only saw it pulled into sort of below where you are. Yeah. So it then try and get around the rest of the lap.
Yeah, that's the issue. And what will happen is, if you have a car, they'll be repositioning one of the other vehicles for someone else to pull them around.
Oh, sorry. The 10 car has just left the fuel station, by the way.
Thank you.
There's two.
So he's gone back out again.
Yeah. That time round, he trolled down and picked up fuel. For some reason, the previous time he just did a stop and go and then came around again. So whether he thought I can't get fuel during the stop and go, he's come again the second time and made a second mistake as far as I could see.
Yeah, this is compounding the problem where he's listed as 5th place overall, but I think number 90 with Luke Brahms at the wheel, that's the Renault Megane trophy car, the SP2 class leader, should be moving ahead. So it looks as though Michael Goltz has rolled the dice very, very badly indeed in these closing minutes. So the first 3 hours of this 12 hours of Zandvoort, run here by Creventic.
And I'm told there will be another grid starting procedure in the morning with the grid girls, etc. So we'll be coming on the air at 8:30 UK time, 9:30 local time. Before that, if you're just joining us now and want to know how all this got started 3 hours ago with just 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go, we will replay the countdown to green, Nick on the grid, and the whole of the first 3 hours, just to get you back into the spirit tomorrow morning. It will be up as a podcast, as well as are the practice sessions. If I had full internet, I would be able to tell you that they were already there, but Tim's listening in, he'll probably tell me that they've already gone up earlier today.
Into the final 2 minutes of this opening instalment, and the gap has come down between Kenneth Hare in the number 2 Mercedes, leading the way from Peter Cox, his number 9 Ferrari, down to 7.1 second, and lapping faster than either of those, but a lap down is Rick Abresh. Now he's on the lead lap again. He is 27 seconds behind Peter Cox. That's not bad after 3 hours of racing, with a few problems for the leading cars. Had the top 3 covered by less than half a minute.
There is a flag in the hand of the marshal, down on the starting stand. Is it? I presume it will be a checker,
but
yeah.
So this lap is it, because anything after now they'll wind back, won't they?
Well, let's see when they come through. Let's see when they come through. There's 1 minute and 6 seconds left. So we're still waiting.
It is the checker.
Checker is out, so let's watch the number 2
car.
Not
out, but not waved. It's not ready to be displayed, but ready
under
to be.
a minute to go. 0:52 it says on the timing stand. It will be a little before 7 o'clock because of the curfew, of course. We did start a little bit early, though. If you remember, I said it was about 30 seconds early.
Top 4 cars now covered on the same lap, 1 minute 20 seconds. An average lap time, 1 minute, let's say 46 or so for the race leading cars. That's not too bad. It's Mercedes from Ferrari, from Corvette, from the Mercedes, the Martini liveried one, number 33.
Story for me of this first half of the race is the SP2 leader, the 90 car, in 5th position.
Having had problems.
Yeah, not had a clean lap. Last 10 seconds, Nick Damon.
And the pits are empty.
Good.
A lot of expected people, so I assume the cars are going to come down here, filter around the back, I'm assuming, I don't know. And everyone is looking around thinking, where are we? What have we done?
Right, there's the leader just going through. Hugenholzbach now in front of us. So the time has elapsed.
But they're not waving the checkered flag yet.
No, not until the leader comes
around.
That's why they're going to go back.
Yeah, exactly. I was just looking for place changes here.
And that's also how you will set everybody else. There is the one car going through.
That's the other one, of course. That's the sister car.
The leader is just heading over the top of the hill down towards Mastersbach.
And just to say that number 1, having improved its speed with the third driver, Michael Kroll, that last lap was 2 minutes flat. So clearly that car still has problems. And don't forget, all the drivers in number 2 will be swapping over to number 1 tomorrow. So 2 is leading the race. Number 1, sadly, way down. How many laps behind? 14 laps behind. So they will all have the potential to win and come miles away from the overall pace in the sister car.
I just say there's a long way to go.
And there's a pound in the box.
Well, no, because it is a long way to go, because there's actually many hours. So the cars won't be moving for about 15 of them.
Well, I mean, yes, absolutely. Well, effectively, the race will last from start to finish. What time did we start today?
It'll be a 28-hour race.
Yeah, 28 hours.
27-hour race. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go. It's just where you go for a sleep in the middle of it.
That now makes it longer than the Thunderhill 25, so we now have the longest endurance race.
And there is the checkered flag for Kenneth Hare as he goes across the line. 95 laps is the magic number. Peter Cox has dropped back to something in the region of 7.5 seconds last time around, as the horrible sight of the Synchro Motorsport Honda Civic with its tailgate open and all kinds of damage coming in on the back of the Nissan pickup on a tow rope there. Well, it's rolling. It's rolling. Yes, to Parc Fermé. They're going to get a 10 lap if they have to fix it. The front end,
that is
askew.
It's
not good,
coming
Nick.
In. It is absolutely, what's the word for it? Cream cracker.
Black.
Peter Cox goes through second position at the end of the first 3 hours, but by 16 seconds, he dropped massively.
He lost 9 seconds on that final lap.
But I wonder if he just got caught up in traffic.
I don't think
people slowing
if
down.
If he thought
that lap
was
isn't going to count.
The last lap.
That lap won't count.
You're so clever, Nicholas.
So 7 seconds will be the gap.
Yeah.
Save some fuel.
That is genius. Save the fuel. Save the fuel. Brilliant. Nick Damon knocks it out of the park.
I'm afraid also knocked out of the park is that Synchro Motorsport car, because that is probably an
ex-Honda.
It looks more like.
Well, no, I think it's mostly cosmetic, because they aren't allowed to touch it now.
But it looks like a parallelogram, doesn't it? Not a rectangle.
The question is whether they've deranged the front, the actual drive area. The wheels oddly look like they're pointing in the right direction. Everything else of the front end looks like it's had a very bad nose job.
Can I just cut in for a second, Nick?
Yep.
Michael Goltz in the number 10 Lamborghini is listed as having taken the flag in behind the lead SP2 car, but in 6th place overall. But that once those penalties are applied, he's 2 laps down at the moment.
Yeah. At least another 2.
At least another 2,
But
because he had those 2 runs through the pit.
But he's
Wasn't
got a
just
full
one.
tank of fuel, though.
Yes. Which could be, I mean,
maybe genius. We don't
maybe
know.
you take you say, I'm going to have a tank of fuel. The first time they stop, you get the 2
lap penalty.
It's disappeared.
It's the same.
Yeah.
What do we
read
know?
the rules.
What do we know?
Read the rules. 4 times through the pits for that number 10 car when we restart tomorrow, and only 5 minutes since that car was topped up. And that, looking down the timing screen, is the least amount of time on any of the cars in the 52 car field. We'll leave Nick to see if he can whiz down to maybe catch a word with Peter Cox or Kenneth Hare or any of those guys. I think what will probably happen in a moment, we'll get a timing screen that will go back a lap, because the guys from timingservices.nl are pretty good at getting that done. But the provisional result at the end of the first 3 hours, I'm going to give you the gaps. I won't give you the gaps, rather, because they will change. But it is the number 2, Hofer Mercedes-Benz, that leads it, from Peter Cox in the number 9 Ferrari, Rick Abresch in the V8 Racing Corvette, and Christian Bracker on the 33 Mercedes-Benz.
Where are they collecting the cars, John?
Oh, they're going miles away. They're going all the way around to where the BMW driving school is, and the infield in between the last 2 corners.
Probably won't be able to talk to people then.
It's a large concrete apron, and that's the gate through which they will rejoin tomorrow morning.
Okay. Oh, well, that's not going to be Mr. Cox then.
You could trot.
We're radio range.
I tell you, there is a slight worry for me. I can't see where our car's park was meant to be parked.
You're looking at the front row. We were in the next row. The row
yes,
that's got
of course.
Discovery in.
Phew.
So the drivers are going into it looks so it's a covered area behind those. They look like scrutineering bays, but clearly they're
That's
storage
very
bays.
clever.
No, they're coming out the back of it. Oh, what's going on? They've driven through and round. Anyhow, they've done 3 hours of racing. We're waiting for the screens to be wound back from 95 laps for the lead car to 94. But what we know for sure is Kenneth Hare was sitting on a lead of about, we reckon, 7 or 8 seconds.
7.8 seconds. The last Morris Racing team have the lead in SP2, 6th position overall. In SP3, it's the Ginetta, the 105. Ross Warburton brought that car home, 9th overall. Only 5 laps off the leader, by the way, in that SP3. But he has done an hour and 29 minutes, has Ross, in that car, whereas the next car in SP3 has only done 17 minutes, and that's the Eric Den Decker in the 21 car. Next leader, A3T, Guy Bessem in the 41 car, and that is the NKPP Racing Super Copa Leon.
One of the Mercedes, I think the one car, is coming towards me in the pit lane.
Right.
They've obviously chosen to go into the pits. It doesn't make an awful lot of sense because they can't work on it.
They just want to speak
Well,
to
no,
you,
they
Nick.
can, but they'll take a 10-lap penalty.
Oh, right, okay. Obviously, that's what they decided to do. I'm assuming it's the one.
It is the number one.
Yeah.
That's the one that was having all the problems. 39th position, lapping 10 seconds down on the regular pace.
Wim Mulders and the 72 Recce Racing team, or Ricci Racing team, back in the lead of D1, having lost it for a wee while to the Volkswagen Golf of TTC Racing, but they are in 24th position on 86 laps. And any more leaders? No, that's it. So all the leaders are on the top page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I missed out the 106 of Jan Engelbrecht in the A2 class leader on 87 laps. And that A2 leader, the 106, is the little Renault Clio. Yeah.
Black Renault Clio. Danish crew.
Yeah. Well, there we are, gentlemen. Nick might be able to grab a couple of interviews with. I'd kind of like to hear from the guys at the head to see what their thinking are. 19 minutes. This might stand for something, gentlemen. Tomorrow, I'm just throwing in a talking point right at the end. The leading car, the number 2 Mercedes-Benz, 19 minutes on the stint. Peter Cox, 37 minutes on the stint in second. In third place.
Would you like to go a quick word with Christian Frankenheimer?
That would be Frankenhout, yeah.
Christian, I suppose you would say this is a good first 3 hours and a bad first 3 hours, depending which car you're talking about.
Yeah, car number 2 is the good 3 hours. We're now first, so that's good. But there are 4 cars in the same lap, so for tomorrow that makes no difference. So then everything goes to 0. And car number 1, first we had ABS problem. We fixed that, but we lost like 20 minutes. And now we have a gearbox problem, so we have to change the gearbox.